T-shirts apparently ship separately, so we'll see when they show up what they look like. But
appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
well, it goes twofold. One, it's a gift for you guys just for doing the show for this long, and two, the more you wear it, the more we advertise for the show. So hopefully we get some other people to listen. So you can be my walking billboards for the podcast.
Can we put that on the back of the shirt? # walking billboard.
I wish I was that clever. I might have to add that to the shirt designs. That's not a bad idea. Hello and welcome to another episode of Broadcast Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Lavick. Joining me for this episode is Rumble Dumble Jam Grand Champion, Andy Stolz.
What's up, podcast people?
And he's behind on the Series X payments, Mike Bradley.
Vote Quimby.
All right, so we only got two other guests, three total. Three people on the podcast this time. We're cutting the guests in half.
I hope not. I'm not going to answer my door if that's the case.
We're after Halloween. We're not actually chopping people up or anything.
Well, you just said you're cutting the guests in half, so
that's true. Poor choice of words on my part. I apologize.
I rather like my bottom half.
Yeah, I don't want to put a threat on anyone's life to be on this podcast. We're here to have fun, people. We're here to have fun.
Just to be clear, Andy's saying this as we see him from the nose up.
That's true. You may have lost the bottom half of your body. We will never be able to tell.
Right.
Oh, that's true. It does look like I'm just a floating head.
All right, so we're back for some more news to cover, which we haven't done in a while, probably months at this point. I should have went back and looked to see the last time we did a Geek News episode or something, but I did not. So we're going to try to catch up on some stuff that is probably really outdated by now, but we've been too busy watching some movies and talking about them to cover some news. So we're going to try to backtrack a little bit. So we're just going to jump into it because why the fuck not? Our first story has to do with a project that I am personally very interested about. That's the Uncharted movie that is due out sometime next year starring Tom Holland. Being a big fan of the video game franchise, I've had my eye on this movie for probably since it was announced a long time ago, which has been years at this point.
Yeah, what, 8 years or something?
It's been a while because this movie has been in development hell for years. We've talked about the revolving door of directors that have all been attached to this project at one time or another.
Yeah,
they just kept coming,
and then kept going.
So
I feel like
we've
discussed this at least twice.
What's
before today? I feel like we've discussed this movie at least twice before today in failed efforts that have not come to fruit.
Yeah, because I know there's been director changes that we've talked about before, and after a while they just kept changing that I was like, it's not worth talking about until we have something more concrete and they start shooting.
Right.
So the good news is they finished principal photography.
Yes.
So director for this one, which I think we talked about when it was announced, is Ruben Fleischer, who is the director of Zombieland, Zombieland 2, 30 Minutes or Less, and depending on how you feel about it, Venom. So a mostly good resume, I would say.
You started high there. And
30 Minutes or Less. Was that the one with Michael Cera?
He did it right after Zombieland.
What? I thought it was Michael Cera in 30 Minutes or Less.
I think it was Kristen Stewart and Jesse Eisenberg, I think.
And Aziz Ansari?
Possibly. Now you're gonna make me IMDb this while we're on the thing here.
Is that the one where he gets like?
I'll be honest, I've never seen it. I know little bits about it.
Jesse Eisenberg and Danny McBride, Aziz Ansari.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I thought that was Michael Cera for some reason.
No Kristen Stewart though.
See, Andy, there's your Mandela effect.
Those two are very similar though. In like
Michael
roles.
Pena's in it.
It's actually the cast is decent.
Yeah. I feel like I've watched it, but I can't remember it.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
feel like I watched it and it was not
yeah.
Forgettable.
So the movie version for Uncharted has Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. That's the protagonist from the video game. It has Mark Wahlberg is coming in as Sully.
Can we talk about that photo too?
No, it did see something quick from him with the mustache.
Yeah.
He looks weird with a mustache.
Oh,
yeah,
no way.
Does.
He's going to be like the crabby old guy that helps Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan's father figure, mentor. Yeah. There isn't much on IMDb, and not that I really wanted to dig into it because I kind of want to go into as much blindly to this as I can, but it does list Antonio Banderas as being in the cast, which I did not think I knew about.
Oh, Zorro himself.
Yeah.
It
doesn't list a character, so I'm
sounds
assuming
to me
he's
like
the
a
villain.
villain.
Yeah.
Like he would be a good villain for this kind of thing.
So the main reason we're bringing this up, one, because it wrapped principal photography, and with that, Holland was teasing what his look for the movie was going to be. So we got our first official image of Tom Holland in costume as Nathan Drake. As a fan of the video game, this made me actually very happy, all things considered. So before we started getting into the movie stuff, just with you guys, maybe Andy, we'll start with you. Have you played any of the Uncharted games?
I played Uncharted 2 to its completion, which for me...
Just number 2?
Number 2. Yes. Yes,
never gets old.
Just number 2. I think I have number 3. I think someone gave it to me after they were done with it, and they're like, "Just keep it." And I was like, "Okay." And then I never played it. So.
Oh.
And
so do you have fond memories of number 2?
Oh, I liked it. Yeah.
2?
I mean, I like number 2.
What you just said. Do you have fond memories of number 2? I'm thinking to myself like,
this morning.
I have some number 2s I have fond memories
it was
of.
good this morning.
It's half on
After my
purpose.
Coffee. It was great.
It pulls double duty.
It does.
You said duty.
Mike, have you played any of the games from the franchise?
Yeah, I've played all but 4. I have not yet played 4.
Okay.
But 1, 2, and 3, yes. Thoroughly enjoyed them. 1, I think, is probably the least of the 3 that I've played. It gets a little weird at the end with like the monkey men or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were like Yetis, maybe.
That was 2.
That was 2.
Oh, that was 2 that had the Yetis. Okay, that was weird.
Because I remember fighting Yetis.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were good. They were fun. They were entertaining. You know,
there was one part of that game that I could not fucking stand. It took me forever to figure it out.
Was it some of the puzzles?
No, it wasn't a puzzle. It was like an action sequence where you're in a building and the building starts collapsing towards another building. And you start sliding
you
through.
miss 100 times.
Yeah, and I literally missed it 100 times. It was like almost controller throw mad because I wanted to see the story. I was like really enthralled with everything, and then I was like, "Fuck this, jump!"
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was one of like the story's awesome. The puzzles are awesome. Some of like the platforming and other gameplay, I still feel like left somewhat to be desired. Left some things to be desired. Just in that other games are doing it better, I guess, with like third person action.
Yeah.
But the story and all the like the puzzles and all the other stuff they're doing is so damn good you don't notice it as much. But when you hit sections like that, you notice it.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, that was probably the only game that I played to its completion in a couple of years. So
oh wow, okay.
That and Dead Space, and I think there was a good amount of time between the two.
So I'm actually surprised you didn't kind of want to jump into like number 3 or something after.
Well, I got 3 a long time after I finished number 2.
Okay.
You know, and I sort of was going through a non-video game phase. So
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I have played through them all. I played through 4 within the last year, I think, maybe 6 months or something. I finally got it and played it. 4 is actually really good too. That whole franchise I think is fantastic. For anyone that doesn't know what Uncharted is or anything, basically it's like the easiest thing to compare it to. It's modern day Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Nathan Drake is Indiana Jones, always getting put in scenarios where they're treasure hunting and some other weird shit happens, and the storylines and character development are usually like Indiana Jones, where Nathan's always cracking jokes. He's a sarcastic asshole to most people. His fighting style is very Indiana Jones. Like, it's all there. And I think at one point, actually, Mark Wahlberg was attached to this movie, years ago with David O. Russell that was going to direct. The little bit that they talked about this movie, it had absolutely nothing to do with the way the story of this game is. It had no comparison to Indiana Jones there. They were like antique hunters, and it was, I can't remember what they tried to describe, but it was so unlike anything the video game had done, and it was making me visibly angry anytime I read about it or talked about it. So I was hoping to hell that movie did not happen, and thank God it didn't. The directors that have come in since all seem like they had a better handle on what the game is. So everybody since then has sounded okay. A couple of the directors, I think, that were in that revolving door, I kind of wish still made the movie, but I'm hoping Fleischer does a pretty good job with this, because as long as someone understands what the tone and style of these games are and how well I think that could translate into a movie, I think this could work really well. And I think Naughty Dog, I think, is somewhere involved in this. That's the developers of the game. They seem to be, they were tweeting about some of this stuff when it was happening. Along with the picture of Tom Holland in character, they had a picture on set of Tom Holland talking to Nolan North, who is the voice actor and motion capture actor for Nathan Drake for all 4 games.
Oh, you know what? I think I did see that on Twitter.
So that was just a cool image for a fan of the game to be like, all right, these are my Nathans talking to each other. This is fantastic. I mean, at the time that they announced, like, okay, we're finally moving forward with Uncharted, we're going to have Tom Holland be Nathan Drake. You're like, wait a minute, that he's too young. That doesn't fit. It doesn't track. I have long since said that I've always wanted Nathan Fillion as my Nathan Drake, because I think he is pitch perfect for that character. And they had that short film a while ago, a couple years ago, that sort of scratched that itch for everybody. Nathan Fillion got to play the character for the short film. We got to see him as that character. It just made me want that movie even more.
I think we had a podcast about that.
I was going to say, that's one of the times we discussed it.
Yeah. Because that got me so fucking excited. I couldn't not talk about that to whoever would listen to me about that thing, because it was great.
Yeah.
It was really good. No,
sadly, it didn't turn out the way the Deadpool short did.
I know. I was hoping that would
kickstart
something. I mean, it must have got people talking about the property as a movie or something live action, but it probably morphed into what we're getting now. But that's fine. We're getting an Uncharted movie. I like Tom Holland. I'm hopefully optimistic for this thing. But sort of just bringing it back around to the picture that they released. Anything for the picture that you like, don't like? Do you like the way that looks and how that feels for Nathan? Mike, we'll start with you.
The one thing I was going to say while you were talking about that is I think it's something that we're seeing a lot of these films based on movies, comic books, other things trend towards is staying more faithful to the source material that is popular for a reason. There's a reason the Uncharted series is popular, and it's not your weird take on it that's going to change how it's seen as popular. Stick to the formula if you're going to make this movie about this. You can tell your own story within that universe, but don't change the genre.
Yeah.
Keep it within that same adventure, Indiana Jones-ish type genre and tell a new story. I don't want to see the same story that was told in the game either.
Right. Yes.
I want a new story, a new adventure for Nathan Drake.
And really, I think that adventure genre isn't tapped on for movies a lot anymore. Like National Treasure is the only other thing that sort of hits that vibe for me in recent years.
And it's something.
Those were good movies.
Right. And it's rare because it takes a lot of research to do those movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have to have a lot of historical, accurate things going on to make it interesting enough that it seems real. That what they're doing, is there, you think about like National Treasure 2, when they're at Valley Forge, or not Valley Forge, they're at the, whatever it is, where they go to, where he kidnaps the president in the tunnels underneath where whatever place that is that actually there? Do those actually exist?
Spoilers.
Sorry.
I'm just messing.
But it creates those questions. They have to, like, it's a really intricate way to make a movie for just that adventure, to have it based on some real historical thing that's interesting to chase down.
Yeah.
And Uncharted scratched that itch just the way that National Treasure did. And then I guess Indiana Jones 4 tried to do it too, and they fucked it up. And
don't worry, we're getting 5 at some point, so it's still coming.
Maybe they'll bring it back around, but I don't know. As far as the picture goes, he looks a lot better as Nathan Drake than I thought. He looks older than he usually does. I think they play him younger as Spider-Man intentionally, so that's kind of the Tom Holland we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
He's obviously on a ship of some kind there, which is kind of cool.
Why is it obvious he's on a ship? Oh yeah, I see now. Never mind.
Okay. I was gonna say, is it not?
It's the Black Pearl.
Whoa. Mind blown.
Crossover.
I'm down for that crossover.
I didn't see the upper left-hand corner. Like, I wasn't paying attention. It looks like a mast, yeah.
Yeah. What's going on with this obviously partially destroyed ship in some way? Are they searching it? Probably. It looks old, What's he searching for on the ship? That's a kind of cool thought. I guess what draws my attention most here, he's got a gun holster on with no guns in it.
I mean, Nathan always loses his guns.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, it's just something I noticed when I see the picture. I'm like, yeah, he's shot in the arm. He's got a cool watch. And he's got a gun holster on for no reason because it's missing guns. He also has a ring around his neck on a necklace, which I mean,
that's Nathan Drake. The Sic Purvis Magna or whatever, the ring, the Nathan Drake, his heritage ring, the one that he gets from his relatives or whatever.
Oh,
that's the whole character thing. It's like
that's the Sir Francis Drake ring thing.
Yes, that's the word I was like. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, it's been more than 5 years since I played an Uncharted game because I played them with PlayStation 3.
Gotcha.
Long time ago. And I haven't played 4, and I haven't replayed them. I played them like as they released, except for the first one.
Yeah.
First one I came back to. The second one was on release. Then I went and played the first one after that, and then the third.
Yeah, I had played them when they came out for PlayStation 3, and then I got a PS4 and got the collection, which was the remasters of all 3 games. And then picked up 4 when it was on sale, and I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I played the trilogy. I'm going to play through the remasters leading up to 4. And I really enjoyed that experience, playing through all 3 of those and then getting to 4, because 4 is such a good new game. Like, it looks fucking amazing for being on the PS4 and stuff like that. But it's such the beginning hour of that game is such a nice nostalgic trip back through the first 3 games. And that game bookends so nicely that I've had a craving to go back and play it again because I think 4 is amazing.
Huh. Okay.
So it's all told, what was that, about 60, 70 hours probably dumped in there? About 10 to 10
yeah, I mean,
to
if you probably just beeline it through the story and like don't stop to look at every corner looking for treasures and stuff like that, I think you get through them fairly quickly. Yeah. If you're looking for stream content, Mike, that might be one to do.
I'll trade you Last of Us 2 for that one if you've got the hard copy.
Yeah, sadly, I think all the Uncharted games I have for PS4 are digital. Now I'm thinking about it, so I can't even give you the disc.
It's fine. I'm kidding. I'm not. We got next gen coming. I'm not. Stream content's going next gen.
Yeah. Andy, what'd you think of the picture?
I agree. He looks older than I expected him to. I'm hoping that he can sort of manipulate his voice to sound a little bit older because, in my opinion, he sounds very young in the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a hang-up for me, too. I'm anxious to see how that goes.
Yeah, but I remember hearing like interviews from him, and he does sound older. Like when he's just sort of talking like himself. So I'm sort of hoping that he's able to, channel that into Nathan Drake.
Yeah, because at the same time, if he tries to do a voice that's like deeper or gruffer, I feel like that's going to stand out too.
Yeah.
Well,
And, did Nathan Drake have an accent? I mean, he does have a really good. What, he's British, right?
Yeah, he's British.
Yeah, so
Tom
he has a
Holland's
really
British.
he has a really good American accent. So
Yes, yeah.
What I was going to say is I think he might young himself up for the Spider-Man role, as opposed like I think he's intentionally sounding younger
okay,
for Spider-Man, as opposed to all that. I think he'll sound, he still has his own voice. I mean, he's not going to sound like Chris Hemsworth, but he'll.
Right. I don't want him to sound like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
No, nobody does.
Well, at the same time, it's like I can picture Tom Holland as Spider-Man and being in like action sequences as Spider-Man and stuff like that, but picturing Tom Holland in like an action sequence that's not a comic book movie is still like a hurdle for me to try to get over. Like I don't see him as an action movie star, so I'm still trying to get over that, I think.
That's because he's so good as Peter Parker, and if you think of Peter Parker without the superpowers getting into a fight with Flash Thompson, you think of a little beaten pulp in Flash Thompson walking away laughing.
Right. Which I think could be a lot of it too. Like I'm that's really my only main exposure to Tom Holland is Peter Parker. So just to see him in something else that I wouldn't immediately peg him for, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean this is a good action movie resume then, or yeah.
And if he fits the role, like I think part of the reason they wanted to go young is so they could use him for future, a trilogy, future movies, 10 years worth of Uncharted stuff.
Right.
So if this actually takes off, which I'm hoping it does, because even still, I'd still like, whether this movie sucks or not, I would still like to see 3 movies out of an Uncharted franchise.
I mean, I'd like to see National Treasure 3 someday too.
Well, that too, yeah.
But I mean, we'll see how the movie does when we see it. But for me, I'd like to see, like, for him as Nathan Drake, something I'd like to see, because it's kind of a thing that Nathan always has, is a bit of scruff. He always kind of has, like, that 5 o'clock shadow or a little bit more going on. And I don't know if Tom can do that. There's some people that just don't grow facial hair, and he looks like he might be one of them, because I don't recall ever having seen a picture of him with even the least little bit of stubble showing. So I don't know if he can, and that adds like to the scruffiness of the character. You know what I mean? Like
it's what the makeup trailer's for.
Yeah, he might be able to get one of those going for Uncharted 2.
Maybe.
The only other thing I noticed from this picture is some of the woodworking on the boat behind him looks fairly Asian to me.
Okay.
So I
wouldn't know how to identify that.
Huh?
I just don't know how you, like, what do you see? I don't know how you identify woodworking to be Asian. I don't
know.
Like,
or maybe it's just like a Victorian type scroll work there next to his head. But
oh, you mean like the pattern?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. It's like, what about it looks Asian? Because I don't know. I don't know anything about woodworking, so I wouldn't.
Neither do I. Just that's what immediately caught me. And I said, oh, that looks sort of Oriental, I guess. But he's a world traveler, so he could really be anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows where the wreckage
I guess I was just
found.
sort of just trying to look for a clue as to where this picture's taken, what he's doing, where he's at.
I mean, what I would say is, like, the boat is recently destroyed. Because all the wood inside, you can see, like, the new wood color inside.
Yeah.
So something happened, and they didn't, like, color it up to make it look like it was destroyed at some old time, and the wood has been sitting there rotting. Or they're just not good at their job. I don't know which. But the wood inside is clearly fresh. So it's recently destroyed to that state. So something happens on that boat. And he's got a gunshot wound. So
yeah, I keep looking at this picture just thinking, like, I want to see a trailer so fucking bad. I want to see what this movie looks like. I think the release date's sometime next year, so I guess as long as there's no, like, production delays or anything. Well, of course, we don't know what movie theaters are going to be like next year anyway, but as of right now, it's slated to release sometime next year. I'm not going to even mention the date because I'm sure it's going to get pushed and moved. So
yeah, 2022, folks.
Yeah,
because I'm just being honest. Like so many things are slated for next year. I feel like even if things are back to normal come summer, things are going to start to get pushed back because of all the competition that's going to be smashed into the same spot. People are going to be dodging the competition.
Yeah. I mean, how do you guys feel about the younger Nathan Drake? You okay with that? Would you rather have seen older? Do you prefer older? Like, what are you thinking?
I like the idea of him growing with the franchise.
Yeah.
Like aging with the franchise. I feel like if they started older with like a Nathan Fillion or somebody, Hugh Jackman,
if this movie
like that, like it's
a one and done.
Yeah.
Like, if this movie would have got made 10 years ago, I feel like they probably might have... And they wouldn't have got Nathan Fillion because Nathan Fillion wasn't a star then. I think with having The Rookie on TV, I think he's more of a household name now. And I feel like he's actually in probably the best shape of his life right now doing that show than he was prior, 10 years ago. He didn't look that good now.
Right. So
I don't know who they would have picked because they would have had... The whole thing, I think, is they wanted a bankable star for this movie because no one... outside of if you're not a fan of the video games, you don't know what Uncharted is. So Sony needs a star attached to this movie to get people interested.
But all the teenage girls know who Tom Holland is.
Yep, you're getting that market just from casting him.
I was going to say, and as far as like marketable stars in his age range, he's got to be number one, right?
I would
think. In
think.
terms of like box office expected draw.
Top 5 at the very least.
I mean, I can't name another one.
I was texting Josh when because I the picture we're referring to I put up on Twitter and our Facebook pages on our social media sites and stuff like that. The one that I put on Facebook, when I look at stats for Facebook, it tells me like how many people engage with a post or like click on a post or see a post or something like that. Traditionally, anything that we post might get between 15 and 40 clicks or interactions or something. I put up one picture of Tom Holland and we had 350 interactions with that post.
More pictures of Tom Holland.
So it's like everything from here on out, I don't care what I'm posting, I'm just going to hashtag Tom Holland everything just to see if it gets in there.
Put honestly, you want bank, put up the young guys of the MCU, Chris Pratt, Tom Holland,
Every post we do will just hide a picture of one of them somewhere in there. You got to find
just
the Chris.
Include a shirtless picture of Chris Hemsworth in every thing. You'll do fine. I mean, sex sells in both directions, my friend.
Facebook algorithms will take over. It'll just make its way out there. All right. Anything else for this one? I'm excited. I want to see more of this. I feel like this is one of those movies where I'm going to see one trailer and be done. That's going to be enough for me because I am already in.
Watch a trailer on this one, unless you tell me that we're going to talk about it on a show.
I feel like I'm going to have to. Like I will need something to hold me over. So if they usually the first trailer is not spoilerific. It's a very much of a tease of like what's to come.
Right.
So I will watch that one.
Trailer makers, yeah.
But for because they've already got my money. Wherever this comes out, I'm going to watch it. But at least the first trailer will give me something to come back to if I just need like a fix for what this movie's going to be. I can come back to that first trailer, but anything after that I will probably avoid. So chances are whenever they do a first trailer, we will talk about that first trailer. But Mike, if you want to avoid that at that point, we will leave you off that. You can.
I mean, for me, it would be something where like I would just avoid it just because I like you said, I'm going to go see this movie one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't need to see a trailer to be sold. And there's not, like, anything that's been leading up to it, like with Star Wars or Endgame or any of that kind of stuff, where I, like, want to see what's going to happen next or something. So
that would be like
for it. So
talking about that trailer, I think would be fun with, like, Josh, who doesn't know anything about the games, but presenting him this trailer and say, what do you think? What are you getting from this?
Yeah, I agree. His take on it would be good.
Yeah, so we'll have to see where we go from there.
I have a question, Brian. Is there anything that the trailer can show you that will dissuade you from watching the movie? Like, is there potential for you to watch the trailer and go,
there will be, yes. But offhand, I don't know what I could tell you specifically. Like, that's going to be my major turnoff for this movie. I mean, really,
extended edition with extra nudity available.
if the trailer at all just captures what I think the tone of an adventure style movie and the tone of that game conveys, I'm in. If it's anything other than that, then it will give me a little bit of pause and be like, well, I don't know where they're going with this.
I agree.
If I don't know, I guess I don't know how they open the marketing. Will it be focused more on like Nathan Drake, like sort of, like I don't know if they're gonna hype it like, you know, he's following his destiny, like the destiny we've seen him go through in the game. Are they gonna be playing up the fact that like he's destined to be this treasure hunter, or is it gonna be like Indiana Jones, where it's just every time he's got bad luck and in the wrong place at the wrong time type of thing? Or, you know, is the trailer going to hype up the mystery of the MacGuffin and go from there and then reveal Nathan Drake?
The case.
Yeah.
For me, I liken this in my head to what Andy's saying is something that can make you watch a trailer for something that you're really into the idea of, you like everything about it so far, and put you off immediately, to the Assassin's Creed movie. I love Michael Fassbender. I think that guy's great. I think he's a really good actor. So they cast him in this lead role. Everything's looking good. You get into the trailer, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of that trailer, they showed him suspended by some weird apparatus as opposed to just laying down in an animus experiencing this shit. And I was like, well, I'm out. Like, what the fuck is that thing? I'm out. That makes no sense. That's stupid.
And have you still never seen the movie?
I got through about a third of it, and I shut it off. I was like, this sucks. Like, I got through a third, and I'm like, I can't. They're killing my baby.
That's the other thing, too. Video game adaptations have a rough go of it. So
yeah.
They do. But I think people are respecting the medium a lot more, especially because of the work Naughty Dog has done. Because Naughty Dog, it's not just Uncharted. You're talking about The Last of Us as well.
Which is getting a show on HBO. Like, that's happening, too.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But because of a lot of Naughty Dog's work, people are respecting the narrative that they're able to tell in a video game.
Yeah.
You know, Naughty Dog, like, I feel the same way about The Last of Us. The story is so damn good, and the gameplay lacks a little bit. But the story and the story they're telling and the performances they get out of people, it's amazing.
Yeah, The Last of Us came with my PlayStation 4, and like I love the story, and I just like the gameplay just feels so fucking clunky and clumsy to me that I get so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that sneaky stuff. Yeah, I got through it. I did struggle a little bit here and there, and I think I started like with The Last of Us. I had started it, went through like the prologue stuff, got into it a little bit, and then like put it down because I was like, I can't. I think at the time too, the story just felt really heavy. Like I knew it was going to get really heavy, and I was like, I don't know if I want to get through this right now. If I am like mentally prepared for what the fuck this game is going to put me through.
I'm there with 2.
Yeah. Okay. So but I eventually came back to it, and I'm glad I did because I think I had every intention. That was around like when 2 was coming out, and they were promoting 2, and I was like, well, I definitely would like to try 2, so I have to get through 1 first. So I finished 1, but I still haven't gotten 2 to play it. But yeah, 1, like Mike said, the story for that game is incredible. The narrative that they make for these are great.
I guess the difference for 2 with that one specifically is it's a lot longer.
Yeah.
Like the story for 2 is something like 30 hours through the
okay.
story. Yeah, like it's long for a game that's a narrative-based game like that. Normally these games like Uncharted are like 6 to 12 hours. You know, if you chug through the story. And that's what the first Last of Us was. The Last of Us Part 2, it's heavy and it's long.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are both, I would say, better gamers than I am.
I wouldn't necessarily say better. Better is not the correct word.
Maybe
I would say
more practiced, maybe.
We game
just
more.
Like, yeah, okay. Well, yeah,
but
more
that's
practice.
just free time. At least in my case.
Games like that sort of like throw me off, which is why I'm very hesitant to play like Dark Souls or like Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, the difficulty games.
Last of Us is not difficulty.
to me, the clumsiness and the clunkiness of it made it difficult for me, and I just it really threw me off. So I
want to
struggled.
play something that you're having fun with, not getting frustrated with.
Right, and it was like a scale balance, like the Libra sign. It's like gameplay sucks, story's awesome, and eventually the gameplay sucking won. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much never going to play this again.
You know what you do in that case? You
watch the
it
story on YouTube.
on YouTube. Or you watch me play it on Twitch.
Yeah, we should start taking requests. Andy, what don't you want to play? We will stream it for you. Because, honestly, the more we're talking about Uncharted, I'm like, fuck, now I want to just play these again, and maybe I should just stream them all because they're fucking great.
Honest recommendation, man, wait until the month before the game's coming out.
Before the movie?
Yeah, before the movie, sorry.
Okay.
I
was like, they're making another Uncharted game? Did I miss something? Don't tease me, Mike.
And it's totally flown under the radar. Uncharted 5 is coming out in like 3 days.
Yeah, it's a release title with PS5.
Oh, you bastards.
You just haven't heard of this? How'd you miss this? But you'll generate more interest that way. People will see, he's playing through the Uncharted games. That movie's coming out. I want to watch that. And you'll sate your own need leading up into it, and they'll be like, no, don't watch the trailer. Just play the game. Don't watch the trailer. Just play the game,
And that's what I will need. I need something to get that fix with, the last month or two before release. I will need an Uncharted fix for sure.
Exactly.
So that's probably a solid plan. All right, I think it's probably good to spin to the next one, right? I think we're good for Uncharted.
Let's spin it.
All right. So with Uncharted wrapping production, that means Tom Holland has moved to his next project, which is Spider-Man 3. Now, we still don't really know anything about this movie, but The Hollywood Reporter ran a story on October 1st saying that Jamie Foxx will be joining Spider-Man 3. Not only that, but he will be reprising his role as Electro from Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 2. So this raises some questions. We know that we've covered it on past shows. The deal between Marvel and Sony for the Spider-Man rights only extends for 2 more movies, and then Spider-Man is solely Sony's, whatever that means. So
is that appearances or is that 2 more Spider-Man movies?
2 more MCU appearances.
Okay.
Sony, between Venom and Morbius and whatever else they got in the pipe, they are slowly trying to build their Spider-Man universe again, because they tried this before and it fell apart. Well, they're trying again now. What we don't know is how much that crossover with the MCU will happen with the movies that Sony has planned, how much will happen after the fact, especially after the next 2 appearances of Spider-Man in the MCU. We don't know what's going to be nice between the 2 studios, what they're going to do with each other, or if it's just going to be cut and dry. He is with Sony now, fuck Marvel and the MCU. We are Spider-Man, Sony's universe, this is it. So obviously Spider-Man 3 is one of the 2 films that will allow him to be in the MCU still. So we still don't know what the second film is. I think it's safe to assume it's probably another Avengers movie, but is it Spider-Man 4 or is it Avengers? It could be one of those. So basically, with this in mind, this whole thing just basically spits into speculation as to what the hell does this mean if a character from Amazing Spider-Man 2 is popping up in an MCU Spider-Man 3 movie. So I'm at this point, Mike, I'm ready for wild speculation. I have my own drawn-out theory that I'm going to probably go through, but what do you guys got?
Well, we just had time travel, right? And we've had the Spider-Verse introduced and successfully accepted from the animated version. And we may experience a bit of both here, where he's traveling through the Spider-Verse. And I think that's what you might see here, as opposed to them stepping into the MCU. I think you'll see the MCU's Spider-Man, Tom Holland, traveling through the Spider-Verse, traveling through alternate universes, and running into these characters.
So you think we're going to see more than just Jamie Foxx in this movie? Like other previous Spider-Man characters besides Jamie Foxx in here?
Hasn't there been rumors of Garfield and Maguire as well?
Rumors, nothing
confirmed,
substantial.
but it's rumors. I think you may see I think they're trying to make those deals happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're trying to make it so that they get those guys on board. That's why the rumors are kicking up. Whether they have or not yet, it's a rumor. So I think if we're going to see Jamie Foxx as Electro, we're like... So is it the same version of Max Dillon? Because if he's just coming back to just play Electro again in a different version of Max Dillon and not be the same Max Dillon, you know what I mean? Not be that one. He's just going to play Electro again. That's an outside possibility. He's just going to be Electro again. And it's not related to the Andrew Garfield stuff.
Because it's hard to tell from Hollywood Reporter's article if they are speculating that he is playing the same version from Amazing Spider-Man 2, or like you're saying, just Max Dillon in this universe.
Right. I don't want to, don't get me wrong, if they just skip to that universe and it's part of something that they do where he slides into that universe, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If they try to introduce that same Electro again, as much as I like Jamie Foxx, and that role was not his fault. He acted the hell out of that like he does with everything. That Electro looked fucking stupid. And it pissed me off. It was just no, why would you do that? He got stung by electric eels, then he doesn't even look like an eel. He just looks like nothing. No, that was horrible, and I hated it as far as the look.
Well, the good news is, at least if he comes back as that version of the character, we don't have to go through an origin story of him anymore. He can just show up as Electro. You don't have to worry about the eel thing anymore. You could probably...
So
they
I'm supposed
probably
to
want
see
you to
him
forget
looking
that.
like that as Electro and forget about the other shit. I'm just saying, if I see that look as Electro again, I'm gonna be like...
Well, we just talked about video game movie producers being true to the costumes and stuff. What if he shows up in, what was he, a green and yellow costume with the
lightning bolts coming off his mask and stuff?
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong.
So if Jamie Foxx shows up like that, would you be more happy?
If it's done right. So, well,
Okay,
think of it in these terms.
No,
Vulture is the
curious.
MCU's version of Vulture. What Michael Keaton and what they gave him is the Vulture, right? So the Vulture in the comics, if that version of the comics version of the Vulture were to show up in the MCU, it would look stupid, right?
Depending on how they did it.
Right. But they did the Vulture right with Michael Keaton's Vulture. And it looked good, and it worked. I feel like they could do the same thing with the original Electro outfit and make it work, as opposed to turning him into whatever the fuck that was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't even have a term to describe what that was. But they did that. And I like Electro as a villain. He's really fucking cool, but I will agree with what you're saying, Andy. The Electro costume with the crazy lightning bolts on his head and shit is fucking, it would not work.
He looks more like a Mega Man villain.
Well, yeah. And it's the same reason you never saw Hugh Jackman don the actual Wolverine costume. Is because in a practical form, that costume looks stupid. In a comic book form, it looks fucking badass. Put Hugh Jackman in it and you're like, oh, that's why they didn't do that. That's why we only saw it on the wall, because it doesn't work if you put an actual human being into something that has these giant pointy things flying off of its head. It would be weird. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm always excited to see Jamie Foxx in the movie, but in this case, it was I really wish they had said Jamie Foxx entering this movie as somebody that's not Electro. He's.
I wish they just say Jamie Foxx signed on for Spider-Man 3. That's
Yeah.
all we need.
Exactly. I'd be like, what are they going to have him do?
Yeah, don't give me a fucking character that he's going to play. Specifically, do not mention that he could be the character from Amazing Spider-Man 2 into this movie, because now my brain exploded a little bit, but...
Yeah.
Because I have this whole drawn out theory of what I think is going to happen, but I want to hit Andy first. Andy, where does your mind sort of go with this announcement?
I mean, it instantly goes to the Amazing Spider-Man 2. With the eels and all that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I didn't hate the look. I didn't exactly like the direction they took with him and his costume, backstory, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't hate him as a villain, like Mike did. I was sort of like,
no. I don't hate what Jamie Foxx did. I hate the look.
No,
Jamie Foxx acted
saying.
the hell out of it. He did great. But
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt and make it clear. I don't think.
No, yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. It's just like I thought he was just like middle of the road. Like I thought Jamie Foxx did a great job, but the costume and the effects and stuff, I was like, okay, like that's Electro. All right.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool if they brought him back as an Electro from Tom Holland's Spider-Verse.
You mean Andrew Garfield?
No. Like a different...
Okay.
Electro.
In the MCU version of Electro.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they do sort of give him like a cool, spiffy, quasi throwback uniform from the comic books,
Yeah, okay.
It's similar, but not, you know what I mean? Like they sort of, I don't know, movie-fy it or Hollywoodize it or whatever you would call it,
I just
Mike,
saw
you feel like
in my
you're going to
head.
say something.
Yeah, I had this random thought in my head as to what they might do, and I really hope they fucking don't. And that's dye Jamie Foxx's hair blonde and put like the dumb Electro, like the top of his whatever, like shave it into his head. It's like the Electro pattern into a blonde haired Jamie Foxx. And I'm like, that would just be just as bad as the first time.
Oh, man.
I don't know why I thought of that, but it like popped into my head as something they might do to have like, because he said like a different take on the Electro outfit, and I'm like, that would be a different take, but it'd be fucking horrible.
Or even just
almost,
the origin
I'd prefer
story,
long hair, but like styled to look like lightning bolts coming off his head.
Oh God, horns.
Yeah, let's do it. Like
cool.
like big ass spikes, but like they are like lightning bolts.
So he would almost look like Loki, except with lightning
The big
bolts.
bendy horns.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you get Jamie Foxx into a movie, I think is a plus in my book.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, but I'm curious to see what they're thinking about doing, if they're trying to get the... I think it's safe to say that Into the Spider-Verse was an instant cult classic.
Yes.
Maybe they're trying to get people who really enjoyed that movie more into their Sonyverse or whatever you want to call it. Maybe. So they're trying to like throw like the Maguires and the Garfields into it, which would be cool.
And I think that was my first reaction to when Brian posted this was, are we sure that he's confirmed as in Spider-Man 3 in the MCU versus Spider-Verse 2? Like, has he signed on for a Spider-Man movie, or is he going to be a voice actor in Spider-Verse 2? And that was my first reaction, was like, please just tell me it's that. They're going to do the same joke they did at the beginning of Spider-Verse, where they made fun of Tobey Maguire dancing, and they're going to go back and do the same kind of thing in Spider-Verse 2 with how dumbass Electro looked. And they didn't. Then it was like, no, he's definitely in the MCU. And it's like, okay, I don't know what now. Sorry, I just wanted to interject.
I'm trying to look it up now just to make sure I have the wording correct. Yeah, Jamie Foxx played Spidey villain Electro, and Andrew Garfield, starring Amazing Spider-Man 2, is in final talks to reprise the role for the latest Spider-Man installment starring Tom Holland and being made by Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures.
Right.
Yeah, when you say reprise the role, that pretty much solidifies him doing the same exact character.
But again, it's like Mike said, how you interpret. Is he reprising the same exact character from that movie, or is just reprising the character Max Dillon in this MCU?
getting his.
I feel like
own...
you could interpret it both ways.
Well, I think Andy said the same thing. Just like he's gonna be he's gonna be Electro, but in this universe.
Right.
I mean, like they can have that open for the Spider-Verse. So then the Max Dillon in Andrew Garfield's version of the Spider-Verse was that.
What I
but
think
in
would
this
be
one,
cool
because of different events.
Right. I think it would be cool if Andrew Garfield was in this movie and then he encounters like this new Max Dillon and he's like, whoa, this guy is way different than Max Dillon
He's
I know.
Like Max Dillon's working with Spider-Man and like helping him and like actually like taking on like a support role, and he shows up and he's like, what the hell's this guy doing here?
Right.
Well, the big kicker is if Jamie Foxx is reprising the Max Dillon Electro character from Amazing Spider-Man 2, that character died. Right? He was destroyed and disintegrated at the end of that movie. He doesn't exist anymore.
As far as you know.
And yeah, I guess you could spin it like he's electricity. He just went somewhere else and came back. But
static. He became static electricity for a while, and then he decided to become real electricity again.
But I guess, if their ultimate plan was, because they were planning on doing Sinister Six after all that stuff, so if they were planning on having Jamie Foxx's Electro back for Sinister Six, they probably had an out for him, a way to bring him back.
Right.
Which I guess they could still do.
Jason Momoa is Kraven, please.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool too. All right, so I'm gonna spin into my theory because if I'm right, it's like I just want to get this on record somewhere to see how close I am. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going out further. Like I'm going through probably the next couple iterations of where Spider-Man could pop up and how this could all blend together, especially leading into him becoming part of Sony and how all of this could possibly work. So try to stick with me. I got a little bit to go through here. So I'm starting with WandaVision, the TV show that's coming to Disney Plus with Wanda, with Scarlet Witch and Vision. That show, I think, is going to fuck up some stuff, specifically with the multiverse.
Okay.
So that when we get to Doctor Strange 2, which I want to remind everyone is called the Multiverse of Madness,
right?
The multiverse is a big problem. Now, as far as release dates, WandaVision would be kicking us off. Doctor Strange 2 is supposedly at the end of Phase 4. In between those two things is Spider-Man 3.
I was just going to ask what the release date officially for WandaVision is for people listening so they know.
I don't think they have one because it was supposed to be out by now, but they pushed it.
Oh, I thought they had announced one. I didn't realize.
I don't think they do. I could be wrong. But it was supposed to. I thought it was supposed to be out, but we were supposed to have Winter Soldier and Falcon. Well,
I know they swapped
to have
that. Like WandaVision's coming before that now.
Right. So I think because that has probably, and again, this is my theory, that the repercussions from WandaVision are such wide-reaching to the MCU, they need to push it out first.
Right. It needs to come
set
before
the breadcrumbs.
Certain things.
Yes. Just chronologically, it has to happen first. So whatever Scarlet Witch does to bring Vision back to life or live in this reality, it fucks up the multiverse. So by the time we get to Doctor Strange at the end of Phase 4, they are trying to repair the damage that whatever she does in this show. In between there is Spider-Man 3. So my guess is that during that time, the multiverse is starting to fall apart or crash together or however they want to spin it.
Sure.
And during Spider-Man 3, it spits out Jamie Foxx's Electro from Sony's universe into the MCU. Now, I'm hoping this isn't a full-blown live-action Spider-Verse yet, but it could lay the breadcrumbs for that down the line. Because I don't think we've earned the full-blown live-action Spider-Man yet. I think there needs to be some build-up to that, not just go with it after Spider-Verse animated was real big, so we need to do it in live action. I want the breadcrumbs and narrative to lead there.
Build up.
So, again, we'll start to get the breadcrumbs of the multiverse and Spider-Man being part of the multiverse and a Spider-Man multiverse, all that stuff. We can lean into that a little bit by having one person from another Spider-Man universe pop up in Spider-Man 3. So then this will lead to having Spider-Man's second appearance or movie, whatever you want to do. We'll just say final appearance in the MCU, which my best guess is another Avengers movie. So how do you top Infinity War and Endgame? My theory is doing Secret Wars, which the Russo brothers have said on record that they love that story. They would come back to do a Secret Wars movie. So if you have those two guys come back after breaking box office records doing your Avengers movies, and you get them for another Avengers movie, and it's a story they care about and like, this could be huge. So for anyone that doesn't really know the original Secret Wars story, this is one from 1984, which saw a bunch of Marvel heroes and villains transported to Battleworld by the Beyonder. And they all had to fight each other for, I guess, more or less because they were forced to. But it's the same event that saw Spider-Man get the black suit. So this is when he got the symbiote suit from space and then brought it back to him when he was returned. That's the gist of that story. However, in 2015, Marvel did another Secret Wars event that actually had to do with the collapse of the multiverse. So as the multiverse collapsed, it came down to more or less two universes left. The main Marvel universe and the Ultimate Marvel universe as being the last two remaining. Dr. Doom made one last plea with the Beyonders to try to save the multiverse, and he ended up becoming like an emperor god thing. And then he created Battleworld, which is the same sort of place they ended up in the 1984 Secret Wars. So Battleworld sort of laid out different sections of the multiverse that survived, and they were over the planet, and it was all divided into sections and whatnot. But again, either way, it still sort of ends the same, where our heroes are transported to Battleworld, and this time they have to defeat Dr. Doom. And after they defeat him, they basically undo what he did, remake the universe so it sort of sets back to the way it was. But the difference is, by the time this is all done, there's only really one multiverse. Like, everything that was scattered then comes in the mainline MCU, the 616 universe. Basically, it's a way for Marvel to cut off other spin-off series that aren't selling. Every so often they do this just to condense books and stuff like that. So this is a way to condense everything down to one main storyline. So you could do some sort of combination between the 1984 version and the 2015 version, where the heroes are transported to some foreign world and they have to defeat a villain to then set the universe right. That's the gist of what Secret Wars could be.
So can I give you a play off of what you're saying?
Yeah.
The next Avengers movie is titled The Ultimates.
For sure? Or is that... Oh, that's your theory.
That's my theory. It's titled The Ultimates because, I mean, that's the Avengers in the Ultimate Universe. They're the Ultimates, not the Avengers.
Okay.
Just as a way to decipher itself.
Yeah, it would be a cool nod. I'm just wondering if they would drop the Avengers title, being that the Avengers is so associated with some of the...
With Tony and Cap.
So you're saying because we have a new roster sort of change.
Well, that's also how you get Cap back, is the Ultimates from the alternate universe.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You get a different Cap. You get the Ultimates. You get a different Iron Man. You get the character, but not maybe the actor.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, that could work too. But okay, so I'm trying to frame it specifically around like Spider-Man and stuff.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah, I mean that would be a way to write them back for sure. So if we sort of just spin with that theory, where the Secret Wars event happens, Spider-Man goes to fight in Secret Wars, and at this point, this is the last appearance of Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU. So when the universe is finally saved and Spider-Man is transported, quote unquote, back home, he doesn't end up in the MCU. He ends up in Sony's universe. So there is an in-canon, in-movie continuity explanation as to why the MCU is no longer part of what he is part of.
So all of Phase 4 is designed to write Tom Holland out, is what you're saying?
More or less, yes. And at that point, when Tom Holland is transported back to Sony's universe, Spider-Man 4 is your live-action Spider-Verse.
So I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but let me tell you why I hate it. Now, hear me out. We go through this whole thing. Tony's entire reason for coming back and helping them in Endgame is Peter.
Yeah.
So this whole story we had about Tony becomes fucking meaningless because of Phase 4.
No, because Spider-Man's not going to die.
No, he doesn't die, but I'm saying, like, to everybody, he's gone, essentially, from the MCU. He's not part of that world anymore.
Well, that becomes
he's not there
part
for
of...
Aunt May. He's not there for Ned. He's not there for... Get my point. Like, he's not in that same world. He's in a different world.
And honestly, if they wanted to spin it any which way, they could just say, oh, those people come with him. Or he chooses to come to bring these people with him, or something in narrative to make it work.
Or they're just the same people in the other universe. It's the same
or that
actors.
Yeah.
The point is, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. It sounds plausible. You know what I mean? Unless they sign another contract.
And that's the thing. Between now and then, who knows what Sony and Marvel will come to terms with if they decide to keep playing nice together. We could still have those crossovers. This could still be a fun relationship between the two of them. But as of right now, on paper, at this time, we have 2 more appearances for Spider-Man in the MCU, and that's it.
Right. And that's why I say, like, what you're saying sounds plausible in terms of what they might do. It's just I don't have to like it. Just because of they went through all this stuff that Tony went through, mostly because of Peter.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, sure, he was doing all this to save this, that, and the other in the world and whatnot, but he wouldn't have done any of it if not for Peter.
True.
So, if they do that and then they just write Peter off of the world because of a contract with Sony, it would suck. It would make it it would make it sting that much more to me. Losing
but
Spider-Man
I would rather
from the
get
MCU.
this than just to have Spider-Man ripped from the MCU without any type of closure at all, which is how we were going to go post-Endgame.
Right, I get that. I'm just in a spot where I'm like, I just want them to sign another damn contract so we don't have to.
I completely agree, but I am not holding my breath for that moment. The fact that we actually have a definitive end date instead of like at any moment we could lose this character. Yeah. I would rather know when it's going to happen to prepare myself for it. And if they do something in continuity and narratively drive the story to that point to explain why he is not part of the MCU anymore, I will buy it that much better. It will be softer, like easier to swallow than just he's not here anymore. He's gone.
That's fair.
It'll soften the blow,
yeah. Yeah. And something else that I think has rumored, I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but Doctor Strange is rumored to be in Spider-Man 3 also.
Right.
So, which again, if Doctor Strange is dealing with the multiverse of madness in his sequel, if the multiverse is peeking through Spider-Man 3, he could be there to help repair the damage for this crack before it gets worse or something.
He could help Peter figure out how to get Electro back into his own multiverse. Yeah.
So I feel like you could connect the dots if you really want to speculate and stuff like that, and that's sort of where I went with it. I feel like the only hitch in my theory is if by the end of the Avengers movie, if they do Secret Wars and the multiverse is trying to get repaired, and they quote-unquote fix it by the end of that movie, I don't know how Spider-Verse would work for Spider-Man 4 if it's multiverse-related and we've repaired the multiverse. Like, you'd still have to find a way to get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland all in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know, unless they do more with the multiverse. Yeah, I mean, unless they do more with the multiverse after that, and maybe it's not fixed, or what they fix in one universe fucks up Sony's universe or something. I don't know.
Right. It's definitely something where like this is why like the multiverse stuff is scary for people to start doing.
Yeah.
Is because you have to have this very clearly defined roadmap laid out of what exactly happens and where exactly things go, because it can get very complicated and very confusing very quick, especially on the audience, which is what you don't want.
Yeah. And if I knew that Feige was the only one having a hand in this, I would be completely confident. But Sony is like, you guys are making a shit ton of money. We want a piece of that pie. Give us some MCU stuff. Like, we went over the fucking Morbius trailer. Michael Keaton's in that trailer. Like, that's MCU Spider-Man character in a Sony Spider-Man spin-off movie.
Well, that may be how they're trying to work this in, is like, if you work with us and you let us keep Spider-Man around, we'll start to let you, get a little bit of that MCU taste, It's like when the heroin dealer gives you a little bit of cocaine. They're like, here, just we'll give it a little bit better.
And so I'm
do
interested
either.
to
I
see,
don't know, but I'm saying, it's...
I'm interested to see how they explain that specific thing for whenever Morbius is going to come out now. Like, is Michael Keaton one of the multiverse spillovers? Or are they trying to establish that Morbius is in the MCU proper?
That's a good question.
Like, there's a lot of details here that need to be explained, and we probably won't get answers till we see these movies, but my
you may not even get them then.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Just for someone like me that thrives on narrative that makes sense and breadcrumbs leading to story, like setups and payoffs is what I love. That's why continuity, I think, works for me. If you give me breadcrumbs for something early, work up slowly, build to something, and then by the time you get to the climax, it all makes sense and it works together, and stuff you set up before pays off there. Like, that's what I love in storytelling, especially in a drawn-out trilogy of movies or something like that. That's why the Infinity Saga worked so fucking good, because you set up a villain 5 years before and have him pay off to the best of his ability by the time you hit an Infinity War. That's such a build-up for that moment that it's fucking incredible. So to have stuff like this, another reason why I don't want to rush Spider-Verse, I'd rather build to that, because I think the payoff for finally getting there will be that much sweeter. But at the same time, like, I just have this feeling that Sony is just trying to rush all this stuff because it's making money for Marvel and they want that.
Well, and I think too, like the Morbius thing, I think that movie only exists to bridge the gap that they know is going to exist between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. Like,
okay.
like kind of like Venom 2 is about to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then how many years do we have until Spider-Man 3?
Like real time or?
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man 3, I think, is slated for 2021. As of right now.
We all know that's not happening, though.
Yeah, I think when I looked at release dates, I think the only movie in Phase 4 that right now is slated for 2022, I thought was Doctor Strange 2. And maybe I have my release dates wrong, but I thought that was what it was.
I mean, originally Shang-Chi was supposed to be the first one in 2021.
Yeah.
That was like February 2021 or something. You
know what? Now I'm starting to second guess because I feel like I looked at dates on Wikipedia and I don't know if I can trust Wikipedia. Keep talking. I'll try to amend my statement. What I was going to say
is like the MCU has all shifted because we were supposed to have 2 movies this year that would presumably have to fit into the continuity before you get the next. You know what I mean? Like, these things happen in order for a reason. So we're not going to see, the Eternals until we see Black Widow. We're not going to see Shang-Chi until we've seen the Eternals, so on and so forth, I would assume. But
all right, so updated release date. This is from what is it? September 28th.
Okay.
So this year. Black Widow moves to May 7th, 2021. Shang-Chi goes to July 9th, 2021. Eternals, November 5th, 2021. Spider-Man 3, December 17th, 2021.
Oh, wow.
Just barely.
No, I mean, I'm
Thor,
shocked by that.
Thor Love and Thunder, February 11th, 2022.
Oh, man, this is going to be an awesome 16
right in
months.
time for Valentine's Day.
Doctor Strange 2, March 25th, 2022. They are a month apart.
This is going to be an awesome 16 months if these dates hold up. Like that May to, or just a year, just that May to May. Right there, you've got what? 6 movies?
Yeah. And this was, I guess, this was published prior to Chadwick Boseman, but Black Panther 2 was slated for May 6th, 2022.
I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. Captain Marvel's the next one after that, July 8th, 2022. And that's all I'm seeing here. So I'd say at least through Doctor Strange. That's probably your Phase 4. I don't know if they're going to go through Black Panther and Captain Marvel yet, but depending on their sequence of events that need to happen, I guess. Depending on what needs to happen per movie to set up the next one, we'll have to see what gets delayed or pushed. But
I would honestly say I don't think they're going to release 6 movies in a 12-month period. I don't think they're doing that. So I think you're going to see other things get pushed back at some point. I think the Spider-Man movie, you should keep that December thing for the, just for the Christmas money.
Yeah.
I think that's likely to stay. You might get 4 in that period, but I think they'll push back the next one further.
Yeah, so we got November 5th, and then a month and a half later, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then a month and a half later, Thor. And then a month later, about a month and a half later, Doctor Strange.
I mean, I hope they keep that. That'll be awesome to have that many of them come out in one short time. I think that would be really cool. And then it would feel like a drought afterwards, but...
God damn it, I hope we can go to the movies by then.
Me too.
All right, sorry. So I went on my whole tangent, and I feel like I haven't given Andy a time to chime in here. So how do you feel about any of the multiverse type of stuff that might happen? Any of that seem like it resonates? Do you see any of that happening? Any theories you want to spit out there too?
I don't really have any theories, but I feel like it pretty much has to be something to do with the multiverse.
Yeah.
Just based on the popularity of Into the Spider-Verse and the fact that, they actually sort of mentioned the multiverse a little bit in the last Avengers movie.
I think that was basically the time travel-y stuff.
Yeah.
Was every time they time traveled, they went to another multiverse. So I think they already started laying the groundwork for that stuff.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that whole picture of Bruce, or I guess it was Hulk or whatever, in the I can't remember what the hell her name was.
Ancient One.
What was her name? The Ancient One, yeah. Sort of laid the groundwork for that, so it'll make it easier for people to get when they actually do it.
Yeah.
So I like Brian's theory. I think I'd like to see something like that. I think that would be cool.
What if the Ancient One can punch somebody into another part of the multiverse?
The Ancient One can do whatever the fuck she wants to. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah.
I guess maybe I'll just throw it out for both of you. The rumors that Mike was sort of talking about with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire possibly somewhat creeping into Spider-Man 3. Think it'll happen or no? Do you expect to see more Spider-Men in Spider-Man 3?
Yes.
I feel like we wouldn't have heard them being rumored if they weren't trying to get them.
Well, I mean, I'd blame internet for that. I feel like you really got to start backtracking to see, like, where did this start? Is it somebody in some forum saying, wouldn't it be cool if, and then a news site put the headlines up of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in talks for the movie? Until I see something from someone's agent or, like, credible sources, I have no idea where the fuck these rumors are coming from. I'm going to say that it's not happening.
I mean, you're not, like, wrong about what you're saying. Like, for me, I think it's a thing of, and this is just my guess, the whole thing of them signing them got leaked a little bit, and only, because one place actually reported it as them having signed. Wasn't the most reputable place, but it wasn't the least reputable place either.
Was that the link that you put up on Twitter, Mike, that I questioned before?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, my guess is it got leaked, but not enough that, the major sites believed it. And then they tried to wrap that up as hush-hush because they wanted it as a surprise. So it didn't end up in the major sources.
Yeah.
If I had to guess at this point, given the way that all went down, I would guess that was the case.
I mean, don't get me...
What I hope doesn't...
Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
What I hope doesn't happen is one of the executives doesn't read this forum post where this rumor started, where they hope that they're, and then like, hey, yeah, that would be cool. Quick, give them a call and see if we can write them in.
Yeah, how much money can we add to their paycheck?
Yeah, like I hope no one's like on Reddit, like a Sony executive's on Reddit going, holy shit, they blew my mind. We should do this, I hope it's like a predetermined thing that they were like, okay, this is a good plan. We like it. Let's reach out to them. I hope it wasn't like I said,
it's the
like
Rise of Skywalker version of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, like holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I would love to see those guys reprise their role as Peter Parker with Tom Holland in some sort of Spider-Verse scenario in live action. That would blow my fucking mind.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if they did it right.
I'd love to see Tobey Maguire as like the Spider-Verse version of the Peter Parker that like is the fat Peter Parker that eats the pizza and is like, this shit sucks at this point. Like, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would again, I'd love to see stuff like that. But that being the case, I think, just me personally, I don't trust the source that Mike posted.
But no, that's absolutely fair. They're not the most reputable.
Yeah, the guy that runs that site, used to be on Screen Junkies, got fired from that job over some shit that he did there. And now
really?
I feel like he's just grabbing for attention again. So he's making clickbaity headlines for anything they try to report, and I don't trust anything. If they are the sole source of where this originated, I'm not buying it.
So, unrelated to that, because I think you pretty much hit that nail on the head. It's probably not true, but it still could be that they're trying. There could be rumors that they're trying, and somebody just ran with it to get attention. But so what goes on in your mind? So what happens to you? So what happens to the MCU and all of this with the Spider-Verse and the stuff that we're going into when they finally and eventually, inevitably, however you want to look at, cast Miles?
See, that's where I don't know where the fine print lies. Because is Peter Parker owned by Sony, or is the Spider-Man character, every iteration of the Spider-Man character?
Universe is owned by Sony. That's why they own the rights to Electro. That's why they own the rights to Harry Osborn and the Goblin and all that stuff.
But again, a lot of that is Peter Parker's. It's Peter Parker's rogue gallery. So I don't know. Because I
think anything Spider-Man related.
Okay.
That's primarily Spider-Man related. So things like AIM that Spider-Man would occasionally have a fight with, they're not Spider-Man related because they're more Avenger villains. But things like, the Green Goblin, who also is an Avengers villain at times, is the
Spider-Man 2099.
Well, here's another wrinkle, is that at the time that Sony bought the rights to Spider-Man from Marvel, Miles was not created yet. Correct? They would have sold the rights to Sony in the 90s.
I mean, that was 2004?
Yeah, I was going to say, my guess would have been mid-2000s or late
no.
2000s,
that would be much later than that. That might be 2009.
No, it was the 20-teens, right?
Hold on. I'll let you know.
So, it depends what the fine print of the legalese is. Is it Spider-Man and all future iterations of the character and whatever that is entitled to that universe? Or is it whatever was Spider-Man universe at the time in the 90s that they now own? Because that's a lot of why, we're seeing stuff from Sony's movies that are all classic characters. I don't, to my knowledge, that they're doing a lot of stuff that's recent.
2011.
Didn't Sony make Into the Spider-Verse?
True, but the rights to the Spider-Man character that the MCU is fighting over is specifically live action versions of the character.
Right. But I would think
animated
since
versions,
they made the
Spider-Verse
version, that animated version, my assumption would be that anything Spider-Man, the title Spider-Man, is with Sony. Whether the alter ego be Miles Morales or Peter Parker, Spider-Man belongs to Sony.
Okay.
For movie form.
Yeah, I thought they might be able to skid around it, that Miles isn't Peter Parker, and maybe the Miles can stay in the MCU, and that's the trade-off, is like Sony gets Peter Parker, but Marvel gets Miles.
Maybe they make a new deal, and that's what happens. Or
could be.
Maybe Miles Morales can show up, but he can't be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We get a quick reference to Miles in Homecoming from why can't I think of his name?
Ned?
No, Donald Glover.
He's
supposed to be the Prowler character.
Yeah,
he mentions
Prowler,
his nephew.
Right.
That's Miles.
Which to me says Sony then owns it. Because that's a Sony movie. That's not like that. It's a Sony movie.
Well, again, this is the fine print. Is that it's the MCU. It's in the MCU. So I don't know where they draw that line anymore.
It's a good point.
Because Miles would now exist in the MCU because they've
Prowler.
sort of.
I'm just thinking about that, like him is actually like playing the Prowler as opposed to just an Easter egg mention.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. It's a tangent. Sorry.
Yeah. We could go on for this because we really don't know how it's going to go. I'd like to see some version of Spider-Man stay in the MCU, but I'm with you. I think that Sony owns Spider-Man. Wherever Spider-Man goes, every property for Spider-Man is going to Sony.
Right.
So, in however many appearances, I think we're going to lose it all. So, I'm hoping that we get some good shit from the MCU in the possible finite future that we lose it. I'm still crossing my fingers, like Mike said, that they work something out, that this can continue, because I want to see, and granted, maybe we'll never get it now because Venom exists, but to see like the black suit and all that stuff play out in a Spider-Man story somewhere in the MCU and get some sort of Venom storyline in the MCU, I think that'd be really fucking cool to see done well. But again, because Venom exists, I don't know if we'll ever get that proper.
I still
don't know
want
what
Kraven's
they do from
Last
there.
Hunt. It's like
Yes,
my
that would
most
be cool,
desired
too.
story. Kraven's Last Hunt would be right at the top because we've seen a Venom story and it wasn't done well. We've seen Venom. We've seen, like, to me, that's the thing they haven't touched. That's there.
Yeah.
It's this awesome, really well-told story that they could go into.
Yeah, and I think it's not just that it was done. Like I want to see it done well. Like having the MCU, Kevin Feige and them in charge of making a story like that, I think is what I want to see.
Right. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't want Sony to make the Kraven's Last Hunt story.
Yeah.
I want that to be while Marvel is working with them.
Yeah.
I want that to be done the right way.
Yeah, so we'll have to. Yeah, it's still, again, every time we talk about this, it's wait and see. We're gonna have to wait and see where this goes because we honestly have no idea. So,
right.
Again, we're back to wait and see. They're shooting Spider-Man 3. We'll see how soon before we get a trailer or some other details for that movie. But as of right now, we think Jamie Foxx is in it. May or may not see other Spider-Man. That's all we got. The rest is. 40 minutes of this is just speculation, which is probably what we're going to do for the next year and a half, probably.
Thomas Hayden Church is signing on next.
Oh, Jesus. They're just going to remake Spider-Man 3. Or no, because that would be the other, from Tobey's universe. Yeah. Oh, God.
Topher Grace and Thomas Hayden Church signed on as well as Jamie Foxx.
Please, no.
Now we're down the rabbit hole. All right, so we have tied up Spider-Man stuff. We will move on to our last topic. We're, sort of talking off air, how we were trying to do this a little bit shortly, and we're an hour and a half in for 2 topics out of our 3. So hopefully we can tie this one off fairly quickly, but we'll see where we go. So at the time of this recording, we're on the verge of the next generation of gaming consoles. So you may be listening to this while you are setting up your brand new PS5 or Xbox Series X, in which case, congratulations on making it through the pre-order process. That was a bitch for everyone else involved that tried to get one. Mike, I know you had your own issues, but for listeners, which console did you end up with being able to pre-order?
Oh, you're asking me. I thought you were asking the listeners to comment it or something.
No, for them.
I supposedly still technically have a 3070 on pre-order for PC, and I've got a Series X pre-ordered. And just like everybody else, I tried to get a PlayStation 5 and failed.
Okay.
So I tried for all 3 of the next-gen things that have been
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Out. And, well, we discussed, I think, before the show, the 3070 looks like it may be canceled at this point. So it looks like right now the only thing for sure is the Series X.
Is the 3070 canceled because the 3080s were so fucking bad?
No. It's canceled because Best Buy sold it to me and evidently is not sure whether or not they're going to have stock to actually give it to me.
I got
So I have an order placed and they have my $500. But whether I actually get the thing or not, I don't know. So I may have just given like a 3-week loan to Best Buy.
Yeah.
Ask for some interest.
That's what happened with PlayStation 5 actually too. I got an order placed with Walmart, and they wound up canceling the order and refunding the money. So I actually, for all 3, I've had an order placed, and it looks like I'm only guaranteed to get one of them. Amazon has not sent me anything yet trying to cancel my order. So
we were talking before we started recording too, because today PlayStation tweeted that for release date November 12th, no physical consoles will be in stores. Everything you have to order to try to get one on release day has to be online.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Scalpers are going to fucking enjoy the shit out of that.
Yeah, so every fucking nightmare that happened for the actual pre-orders before is going to happen just again for on release day.
The actual orders.
I'm honestly considering setting up a bot and buying 3 or 4 of them just so I can pay off my next-gen costs. No, I'm kidding, listeners. Don't put your pitchforks and torches away. I'm not serious. I wouldn't do that. I believe in just
by the time this goes up,
yourself.
By the time this goes up, we'll know if you were successful or not.
Honestly, I won't even be trying for that. I'm not messing around with that stuff again. It was too much of a pain in the ass with every other time. I'll get a PS5 in January, February, March, something like that, when you can just go into the store and
they're available. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking before. I had not tried to pre-order either of these consoles. My plan, I actually have vacation to spend, so I was taking off November 12th anyway, but I was like, I'll just go to the store that morning and walk in there and see if there's any available. And now I'm like, well, my chances have now gone from slim to fuck you. So I might still try to get one online, but my confidence level has dropped significantly.
Did you try to get an Xbox?
No.
Why?
I between the two, because some of the games I feel like are pushing for, like, PlayStation still wants to draw the line in the sand. So if you want next gen stuff, you buy the next console, because some games are just not going to be supported or backwards compatible for what you already own. Xbox is giving me that leeway where if I want to play stuff that's coming out over the next couple months, I still have the hardware to do it.
So I don't want to call you out or anything, but weren't you just talking about not liking that kind of practice from Sony when you were talking about, like, Black Ops?
I also said I fucking hate that it works because they get me every fucking time with it.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, for me, like, I'm in a spot with that where I'm like, this whole time I've been like, I want to play Cyberpunk on whatever is going to play it the best for me. And at first I was like, I'm going to get a 3080 and that's going to do it. And that didn't happen. I tried for a PS5 and that didn't happen. Then the Xbox happened and I was like, cool, I've got that pre-ordered. And I tried to get a 370, which I still might get the 3070, but I honestly, it's like, that's the game I'm, like, aiming at.
Yeah.
In terms of next gen, that I'm looking forward to the most, that I want to be able to play at the best possible settings and the best, like, look and the best everything. I want to experience that game fully with everything it has to offer.
Speaking of which, did you hear that they're getting death threats?
Oh, because they delayed it again?
Yeah. Delayed?
The internet fucking sucks.
That's crazy.
People are assholes. Like, they're making
I feel
a
like
fucking
if I
video
were
game. They're not like,
for your entertainment. Don't bitch at them because they're trying to satisfy you.
I feel like if I were making an awesome game like that, I would try to keep it hush hush until it was very complete, and then I would be like, oh yeah, by the way, Keanu is in this. And then start, like, my marketing campaign, you know? Because I know that, like, we've already done the crush.
I think the hype for that game,
you know,
is just
it's just, I don't know, to avoid this kind of shit.
Well, what I was gonna say, like, I think the reason they're doing it is because they, like, if you look at what Cyberpunk has done, they would avoid that kind of shit. But the sales they're gonna see from the hype they've created over the last 7.5 years, it's at a fever pitch. People want this damn game. It looks amazing. It looks like everything you've wanted out of that type of, like, shooter RPG that Fallout hasn't delivered in years. You know, like, it's there, and you want that to deliver it, and you're hoping it does, and they have this opportunity, I guess, to change gaming a bit with what they do. At least that's what people are hoping, I think, is that this is like that next game changer for how games are made. And they've created that hype for it. And coming off The Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red has quite a reputation to live up to. Because, I mean, that's widely regarded as one of the best games ever made. And rightly so. That game's amazing. If you guys haven't played it, I highly recommend it.
That's one I think I had seen on Game Pass and stuff, but I haven't dove in because I know it's a
time sink.
Large amount of time. Andy, are you looking to upgrade at all? Did we talk about that before?
I have such a backlog still for PS3 and PS4 and Xbox One and Nintendo Switch that no.
Okay.
Probably not anytime soon.
Okay.
That's fair.
I do eventually, like, you know, I always try to get, like, the new next-gen consoles, just much later than everyone else does.
Okay. Fair.
So I do like video games. You know, I like playing them and whatnot, but, usually. I don't go with like the whole, oh my god, I need it Black Friday sort of spiel. So
yeah,
sure.
All right. So spinning to some of the stuff that's happening for next gen. So if you haven't made the switch or debating which console to upgrade to, we'll see if this next information will help make the decision maybe a little bit easier. But we've talked about it before. Xbox's strategy seems to be less focused on console sales and much more on their Game Pass and subscription-based model. So they are doubling down on what you can get from Game Pass. So the plan is to cover really one specific thing, but it's also worth mentioning a couple other things that have recently come to Game Pass. So I'm going to try to bullet point a couple things here. So one new addition that happened recently was Game Pass. Microsoft announced that Game Pass Ultimate members that have an Android device will now have access to the xCloud service, which gives players the ability to stream Game Pass games to an Android phone or tablet with connecting an Xbox controller to their phone or tablet via Bluetooth. Currently, there is no word if and when the xCloud service will be available for iOS users, so Apple people, you are out of luck.
I thought they said it was coming. They just didn't know
they keep saying we're working on it. It's the whole like Fortnite App Store fiasco. Yeah. They violate Apple's terms of service, allowing an Xbox app to access Xbox servers without going through the App Store or something like that.
Oh, okay. So they're working on getting there, but it might never happen.
So there's been rumors of like getting some sort of like Fire Stick to be able to put in your television or something to be able to access xCloud that way. There's talk of like trying to access xCloud through like a browser on your phone and not using an app that you have to get through the App Store. The workaround sort of that the app has done for iOS is that the Xbox app gives a remote play feature. So the workaround through the App Store is that instead of using the app on your phone to access Microsoft servers and stream a game, you are using the app on your phone to access your own console. So basically all it does is turn your console on your phone. And when you remote play, you see your Xbox dashboard. You can select games from your console to play it on your phone. I've tried using that. It is not great. It still needs work.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would be easy.
So my question for you've tried.
Yes.
So like I have an Android TV. So presumably there's an app that works with Android because it's on Android, and it's the Google Play Store that's on my TV.
Okay.
So I could presumably download this app from the Google Play Store. I haven't tried this yet. I need to.
It's the Xbox Game Pass app.
Right.
For Android.
So I download.
Users.
How do I connect a controller to that? To my TV?
I honestly don't think it works on TV. You can try it. I don't think it works that way yet.
So
I think that's why they talked about a Fire Stick type of thing.
You have to have like
it has
the
to be a
controller
mobile device of some kind, tablet or
turning
or
your phone into a Switch.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are accessories for that snap controllers on the sides of phones to make it look like a Switch.
Does your TV have a USB port? You might be able to just get a controller in it that way.
I need a long USB cable, but I don't know whether or not that would communicate with the app or not.
Yeah, see, I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's in the fine print. I've only ever seen it mention tablets and phones, so I don't know if TVs and apps through televisions are there yet. I'm not saying it won't ever be. That might be something they're working on for the future. Because again, Xbox wants you to sign up for their service. They don't give a shit if you have a console or not. However you can access their games, that's what they want.
Right.
So, for anyone that has an Android device, feel free to try it. Friend of mine, Leslie, who I play games with and stuff, she has an Android device. So I've tried it on her phone, just like booting it up to see how it loads quickly. Games can get in there and up and running very fast. Just using a controller to kind of poke around in there, the response time is like on point.
So with that, are you using like does she have on like the Snap-on things for her phone, or are you using an Xbox controller?
An older Xbox controller that connects Bluetooth to her phone.
Okay, so Bluetooth to the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, is if you could just use a standard controller. I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it works that well, that good. And it's the same idea with the remote play for iOS devices, except for whatever reason, the connection sucks. Like I can get a game up. I have to basically be standing right next to my router to get a decent enough signal so that it doesn't like get that screen tear looking thing.
You got to move next to the better McDonald's.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you got to move to the big one. like the one that's like at the Turnpike exit. You gotta get over by that one, and they got the
use
good
their
Wi-Fi. Yeah, they got the good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if it's just the connection, but the remote play does not work as well as the xCloud service. So if you have a Android device, I highly recommend trying the xCloud stuff just to see how it works. It could be good and bad, because if it works really well, you might find yourself playing games a lot of places where you shouldn't or never could before, and then you will never get anything done. But it is worth trying. So that's another addition to Game Pass.
Well, you'll be getting some things done.
True. Your back catalog of video games, which everyone should play through.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm going to get a job as a night security guard at some place that has no threat whatsoever, just so I can get paid to play video games. My question is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
I was thinking about like the controllers, the actual things, like the people that have them where you snap on the side of the Android device.
Yeah.
Has there been any reports of like problems with those yet? Because like that's one of the things that Switch ran into is serious controller drift with Joy-Cons, because people tend to fidget and twist around and mess with, like, screw around a bit with their hands. People play video games, they get fidgety, and that twisting and like messing around can screw up like the connections that the controller has to what you're using it with. And I wonder if they're addressing that or not. I don't know, because the accessories were. Me.
I mean, I haven't seen anything yet, but I haven't dug too much into it because, again, I can't use the xCloud stuff, so I haven't really been researching as much as I would if I could use it.
Okay.
Plus, I guess really I've had no desire to buy the attachable things to make it look like a Switch because, again, I have controllers that work. I actually bought like a $15 clip that just clips on the controller, holds my phone above it.
Oh, okay.
So if I wanted to use the remote play, that's what I would use.
That's what I was wondering, actually, because like I was thinking of trying to use a controller while like sitting the phone in your lap or something and not knowing, but they have a clip that'll attach it to the controller. That makes sense.
Yeah, it works the clip works fine. It's just the remote play service itself is a little rough.
Okay.
And they might be able to iron it out in the meantime, but for starting out, it wasn't the greatest. It's nowhere near what xCloud is, which sucks for Apple users.
Fair.
Another thing they've added to the service, Xbox announced that they will get the addition of EA Play to Game Pass. So EA Play is EA's subscription service that Game Pass members will get for free with their Game Pass membership. They're saying it's available November 10th for consoles, sometime in December for PC. EA Play as a service has different tiers. There's EA Play, which gives you early access to select new releases for 10 hours, and then it cuts you off. And you get access to the playlist, which seems to be a curated list of games, most likely older games, within like after a year of release or something like that. EA Play Pro gives you early access to deluxe editions of new games, exclusive rewards and content, and unlimited access to the Pro playlist, which seems to be a curated list of games that does include some of the newer games that, along with the older games from the previous list. So this deal might not seem as good as it sounds, since the games you'll have access to will most likely be from EA's back catalog and not new releases. But it's still another library of games that is then included with Game Pass for you.
I was going to say it's a free edition. It's not like they're charging you more to have EA, Play on there. It's just like, hey, we got EA Play added to your Game Pass subscription, so good on us.
Yeah, no additional cost. It's just in there. So the one big addition there's the whole reason for this sort of discussion and article here that ended up being a very huge deal is that Microsoft paid $7.5 billion to buy ZeniMax Media. And if you have no idea what ZeniMax is for, they are the parent company of coveted gaming studio Bethesda.
Yep.
So this is the developer behind Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, The Evil Within, Prey, Rage, Quake, and their upcoming game, which we know nothing about, Starfield.
Yep. I'm excited about that.
All of those franchises will be available on Game Pass, and in a few years, since they've already licensed some of the upcoming games to they're third parties, so they license them to PlayStation and PC and all the other consoles and stuff coming out over the next couple of years. But in a few years, all of those franchises will be exclusive to Xbox. So this acquisition, when it happened, I feel like sent shockwaves through the gaming world when it was announced. This caught everybody off guard. They had no idea this was coming. And it seemed like it pissed off a lot of PlayStation fanboys because they are usually pretty good. They get all the better, quote unquote, better exclusive stuff. So the fact that something really coveted that people like and want to play is now exclusive to Xbox, it seems like some of those guys, the PlayStation fanboys, got all pissed off. But for gamers, this is cool. Like if you pay one subscription price for Game Pass, and if you get the Game Pass Ultimate, which is it pays for your subscription to Xbox Live to be able to play games online, and you get access to the Game Pass library, it's $15 a month. And everything I've just talked about is all included in that.
And don't forget about your Xbox Live Gold subscription.
Right. The
That's
Xbox. Yeah, that's what I meant to play online. Yeah. So yeah, the deal is hard to pass up
because
especially if you're looking to come into gaming and just especially for next gen. If you just want to jump in at next gen, have a console and have a library of games, this is your best entry to do that. But anyway, just that's my little bit personal thoughts, that just to give you some bullet points of what's there if you're looking to upgrade or something to venture into next gen consoles, or want to expand your Xbox library. This is still, in my opinion, the best way to do it. So to you guys, Andy, we'll start with you. Thoughts on Bethesda and just Game Pass in general?
Game Pass, actually, I've found a couple of games that I've really liked on Game Pass, and one of them actually left Game Pass, and I was kind of pissed off about it.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a downside too.
Can't play it now, and I'm like,
what was that?
And then I looked at how much the Graveyard Keeper.
Oh, you told
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
that was on one of the What's Up With You guys.
Like, yeah. And then I tried to play it the one time, and it's like, this is no longer on Game Pass. You have to play it. You have to pay like blah 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 amount of money, and I'm like, fuck that noise, and I went out on a different game. But
How much is blobbity blah?
Blobbity blah.
I don't. It was probably like $20 or something. I don't remember. $12. I don't remember exactly how much it was.
17.5 cents.
If it was that, I'd have paid it. And I actually have a PS Now account as well, and I think Game Pass is way better than the PS Now.
PS Now just gives you, is it like a same type of idea, just games that are curated from PlayStation that you can play with a subscription or something, or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly it. But their selection's worse, and I feel like some of the games are you don't download them, you sort of just like stream them. You stream the games.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think Game Pass does that. I don't think you can stream any of the games from Game Pass. I don't think.
Well, what I was going to say is PS Now, I think when PS5 comes out, they're adding like their PS4 library of exclusives to PS Now. So things like Bloodborne, The Last of Us, Uncharted, all that stuff's going to end up on PS Now once the PS5 launches.
Well, I know PlayStation was doing something that's it's something with PlayStation Plus. Like if you were paying for the PlayStation Plus membership, and I forget what name they gave it to the list, but it was some sort of like best of list. And I think those games are in the list, Mike. That when you get a PS5 and if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you can download and play these 15 games.
Like
what's the difference between
almost
Now
like
and Plus?
like a PlayStation.
Plus is the paid like Xbox Live Gold. That's the paid subscription for PlayStation
Right,
to play online
PS
games.
Plus is Xbox Live
So
Gold,
PS
and
Now
then PS Now is Game Pass.
Okay. Gotcha.
But to Andy's point, PlayStation Now I think streams games like xCloud does. Game Pass will allow you, at least on the console stuff, like Game Pass allows you to download the games to your console and not stream them. But the mobile devices, like we talked about, mobile devices you will stream from xCloud to Android devices. You're not downloading games to your phone. You are streaming them from Microsoft to your phone. But yeah, I've heard hit or miss things with PlayStation Now. One, like Andy was saying, the library isn't there, and two, just how well the service works, I've heard has been hit or miss too.
Yeah, when I joined PS Now, I could have played the Spider-Man game
Okay.
with PS Now, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've been wanting to try this. Everyone's been telling me you're an idiot if you've not tried this. And the last time I went on, it had already left, and I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, that was something I wanted to mention with Xbox Live Gold, is that every month you get 3 free games to own forever.
That's PS Plus is the same way.
You do?
PS Plus, you don't own them. Like they are, you can play them as long as you are subscribed to PS Plus. The minute your PS Plus subscription expires, you cannot access those games anymore unless you buy them.
I thought that's how Xbox worked as well.
I thought, at least originally, unless they changed it, but Xbox was the free games with gold. As long as you are a gold subscriber, you technically buy them. They are yours. Yeah. You download them, and if your live subscription expires, you can still play those games. They are yours.
You own them through, you get an actual license for the game.
I was under the impression that if you let your Xbox Live Gold subscription lapse, you are no longer able to play those games.
Yeah, I think that was the difference between the two companies' deals. Again, I don't know if that's still the same now, if Xbox somehow changed that over the last 2 or 3 years, like somewhere the fine print changed, but originally when it started, they were yours to own.
I'm prepaid for 2 years. I can't test this out.
Yeah.
That's going to take a Google, I think, because I also did that weird prepaid.
Yeah, I did it too.
Upgrade for an ultimate
for $1.
For $1 thing.
Yeah.
I think that just settled between us because we all just kind of I think Brian let me know hey, you can just pay for gold and upgrade for $1 once you paid for gold. It was like, oh, well, let me get 3 years of gold and pay $1 to upgrade to Game Pass for that whole time, and then Game Pass Ultimate just automatically was an upgrade on top of that.
Yeah.
It was oh well.
Yeah. It's if you're gonna do it anyways, fucking do it because it's a great deal. As far as Bethesda goes, there are a bunch of games from Bethesda that I really enjoy. I enjoyed Fallout 4. I was excited about the Fallout Online game, 76,
yeah.
like that, until I found out that it was all online, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna play that. I was a big fan of Elder Scrolls Online. I was really addicted to that for 2 years.
I remember a long time logging on, and it's the only game I would see your name pop up playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to get you to play other stuff with us. You would not. You refused. It was Elder Scrolls Online or nothing.
I was pretty much like, ESO for life, motherfuckers. And Skyrim was awesome. Oblivion was awesome. Pretty much any of the Elder Scrolls are awesome. I'm really looking forward to Starfield, and I'm really looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6. So, I mean, Xbox buying Bethesda, to me, solidifies me eventually getting Xbox Series X.
Yeah, okay.
Which I was sort of on the fence about.
Yeah.
But hearing that news, I'm like, yeah, I want to play those games. So, now, with their whole subscription service, I'm sort of curious if I might not have to buy that console now. If I maybe get myself a PC or something like that, I wouldn't necessarily have to buy an Xbox console. If I get myself a badass gaming computer.
Yes.
Well, I think the catch is that not all the games offered on Game Pass for console are offered on Game Pass for PC.
Well,
the lists are different.
You're killing my dream.
What I can tell you is that the plan is eventually that they all will be.
Right.
Game Pass PC came out of beta 6 weeks ago. It's just out of beta. And they're constantly updating the number of games on it. And eventually, things right now are taking longer to get to PC Game Pass because of strictures that they have with Steam or Epic or all those things.
Yeah.
Destiny 2. Beyond Light's coming out next week, right? But it's on Steam, and it has, their contract or whatever there. but then it's coming to Game Pass, and it's got to be like available on 2 different platforms, and it's a whole legal issue that eventually they're going to circumvent and just have their platform for Game Pass. But getting there to that point, I think, is going to take a while. So by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, maybe. We don't have a date on that yet.
Right. I'm hoping that I don't know what, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't know what if Xbox is just going to be like, yeah, we own you, but go ahead and just keep doing what you do. Or if they're going to sort of like try to get their claws into them at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I have any, not that I was gonna say if I have any insight into the process, which I don't. This is just complete on the outside looking in. Phil Spencer, the guy that's head of Xbox. Anything that I've seen him talk about, I feel like he's pretty honest and open about what he's going for, which is how do I make this good for gamers? And if Bethesda knows what they're doing, I don't think they have any reason to go into Bethesda and be like, "This is how you should make games now." Like they're
so
I think studios have their strong points and studios have their weak points, and I would say that some of the glaring weak points for Bethesda is that they're generally sort of buggy.
Yeah, I was going to say shipping a title that works on day one.
Yeah, they have like game freezing bugs like very late into games sometimes where you're like 60 hours into a game and your game will crash and you cannot load into it.
On what Andy's saying,
and
like
that has got to be frustrating, and if Xbox can sort of help with that, I think that would be just like a marriage.
Yeah.
That's very fantastic for gamers. You know what I mean? Like if they can get their R&D or their quality assurance, or I'm not sure, like playtesting, I don't know what division that is, but if they get that, maybe give them some more capital for that or just more staff or whatever, I think that would be excellent. Try to ramp up their strength. Like obviously that it's you would want to sort of fix anything that ails them because they're yours now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think that's exactly what will happen. I think whether it's just more development time that they need to finish games or help to polish certain things, I think Microsoft could definitely help in that respect, and I think they will.
Well, I mean, and what you have coming together as well, again, under the same cloud, again, is Obsidian and Bethesda. And I think one of the least buggy games they ever put out was New Vegas. Like, just in terms, like, Obsidian working with Bethesda managed to put out, a really quality experience that perhaps, you go back and play it today, which I actually did recently. And you still have the same old Bethesda issues where, like, you can lose a save if like, certain things happen. If you don't remember to save, you're losing a Bethesda game along the way on the older stuff. The newer stuff, they've kind of sorted that out with auto-saving and whatnot. But I think that's definitely a good thing, is having them starting to have more of these developers under the same umbrella to work together, whereas before Obsidian couldn't go and work with them, or what's the other one they picked up? Was it Vicarious Visions? That Xbox picked up?
Is Vicarious Vision still around? I feel like did they close?
I can't remember. They picked up another one. Was it Raven? Is that the other one that was working with Obsidian?
Shit, I don't remember. Microsoft's been buying so many studios in the last couple of years, I can't keep track anymore.
Well, whatever. You have all these studios now under this same umbrella that can work together on this stuff to put out games if they want to. And I think that will lend to better quality for all of them, because they can work together. They can say, like, hey, Obsidian, why don't you test this out for us? As opposed to saying, like, we're used to playtesting our own stuff and it still goes out buggy. We can send it over to this one who's much better at playtesting stuff and getting it out without bugs.
Yeah.
Is Obsidian an Xbox?
Yep.
Yeah.
Company
They
now?
released Outer Worlds.
Okay.
That was.
Yeah, no, I remember Outer Worlds, but I don't.
That was.
For some reason, the fact that Xbox owned them sort of went over my head.
Yep. Yeah, that was actually.
Yeah, that was one of the E3s. I think they announced that.
Yep.
Probably at this point, probably 2 years ago, at least.
I think
that they
honestly,
bought
like
Obsidian.
Outer Worlds was probably the first game I played on Game Pass after I paid for that like 3 years. That I paid like as a brand new release on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And it was one of the ones that I was like, yep, it's worth it. It's doing it now because I would buy that game 100%. You know what I mean? Like I was into that game from the time I read the article about it when it first came around. I was like, this is on Game Pass through Obsidian. Awesome.
And that's the thing with Game Pass too, is a lot of their first party stuff, which at this point includes Obsidian and Bethesda, all owned by Microsoft. That's under Microsoft's roof. All that stuff hits day and date release to Game Pass. So the day it comes out, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, that is there for you to play day one.
Yeah, and no waiting in lines at GameStop or trying to get GameStop people to have you pre-order every fucking game under the sun that's available for pre-order.
No one has any good memories from GameStop. Let's just fuck GameStop.
So to give you a list real quick.
Of pre-order games? Please don't.
No. Of the studios that are now all under there. You've got 343, which makes Halo.
Right,
You've got the Coalition, which they do Gears of War and Flight Simulator. Actually, they're part of that. Compulsion Games, which does We Happy Few, if you know that game. Double Fine
Heard
Productions.
of it, never played it.
Which is Psychonauts, Brutal Legend, Full Throttle. You've got The Initiative, which was it's led by one of the one of the people who led Crystal Dynamics originally. In Exile, which looks like it's a fairly new group, but they did the Bard's Tale 4 or whatever it was that released recently.
Okay.
Mojang, of course, that's Minecraft. Then you've got Ninja Theory, which is Hellblade and Devil May Cry, that stuff.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yep.
Did they do Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah.
Obsidian, which Outer Worlds, South Park stuff, Fallout New Vegas, Playground Games, which is the Forza and Fable studio. Rare, which is it's Rare. I'm not going to list all the games. It's fucking Rare. They've been around forever. Turn 10, which is also in on Forza. Undead Labs, which is State of Decay. And then you've got World's Edge, which is Age of Empires. Is that what they're known for?
It's a PC game, isn't it?
Yes, but they're picking up PC studios too for PC Game Pass. So,
I guess that makes sense.
And then of course you got Xbox Game Studios is the last one. That's all the main ones that they own, and there's a bunch of like smaller little bitty ones that I'm not going to list through that they've purchased as well. But those are the big ones that they own currently. They can all work together to make something better at this point.
And I know it seems like we're hyping Xbox really hard here, but really we're just trying to present information to anyone in the market looking for next-gen consoles. We are not trying to shit on PlayStation for what they're doing.
I don't think
they haven't really announced too much new stuff. I feel like that they are, as far as studios that they have, or
not
anything like that.
Studios. No, the games PlayStation is killing it in terms of games that they have coming with PlayStation 5 versus games that are coming with Series X.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked when Brian said that he was more prone to getting a PS5 than he was an Xbox. It's like Brian is very much a hardcore Xbox fan.
I mean, I will,
has been.
Yeah, I will definitely play more on Xbox, and I have more friends that I play with on Xbox. But at the same time, like Mike said, the exclusive you can get from PlayStation, where they draw that line in the sand, if you want to play this game, you have to get a PlayStation 5. That's enough to get me to get the PlayStation. I hate that tactic works. I much more like the consumer-friendly approach that Microsoft is taking here. But at the same time, as a consumer, I also don't feel the need to hurry up, rush out, and buy an Xbox Series X. I still will get one, most likely, hopefully, early next year, sort of like Mike was talking, February, March time,
when the market
I will
cools.
start looking.
When it's just, you can go to the store and say, give me one.
Right. I will start looking for a Series X at that point. But if I'm looking for something up front, day one, I will get a PlayStation 5 to be able to have access to some of that stuff. Specifically, again, they're going to get me with goddamn Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I want my Miles Morales on PlayStation 5. I will play that game. And
they got me
the
with
fact
Demon
that they're
Souls.
remastering...
Like that.
Yeah,
they got
for
him
you,
with Spider-Man, me with Demon Souls. But neither one of us can get one of the damn things.
Yeah. And the fact that they are remastering the Spider-Man game that I love so much on PS4 for PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
I'm going to get that game too,
Spider-Man
and I will play that game
that?
again because it's fucking amazing.
Did you see the change to the Spider-Man they put in that?
I did.
That's horrible.
Which is fine. I'll, whatever.
But,
we'll get used to it, I'm sure.
The point is that anything that's coming out for Xbox in the near future, Brian can continue to play on Xbox One.
Yes.
With a PlayStation, with Demon Souls, with Miles Morales, with all these games that are coming for PlayStation, you can't if you don't have the PlayStation 5. Whereas Xbox One, you can keep playing the Series X games.
They are making Miles Morales available for PS4.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll buy it on PS4 then. Wish they do the same for Demon Souls, then I wouldn't have to worry about this shit so much.
It seems like there's less of a divide with Xbox. Like they are pushing to make you everything in this console family will go to the next generation, and anything going next generation can still be played on this console family you currently have. PlayStation still, there's a little bit of separation there. There's less games I feel like that you can play on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, but there are some available to do that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too. Isn't like one of the differences too that Xbox is offering like complete cross-generation gameplay? So that if you're playing on Xbox One and I'm playing on Xbox Series X, we can still just hop into Destiny together and keep playing.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not sure that's true on PS4 to PS5.
It seems like it's a game-by-game basis. Some game saves will not transfer from PS4 to PS5. So you have to start over if you get the game for PS5. So it's fucking weird. But I don't know. Yeah, I was looking at Miles Morales because that's the game that if I get a PS5, that's the one I'm getting. I knew that if you bought the PS4 version, and then if you get the PS5, you can get the game for free on PS5. In the fine print, it also says if you buy the PS5 version, it says something about having access to the PS4 version for free. So it seems like it goes both ways.
But isn't it $10 more to buy PS5? Aren't they $70 games with PS5
I guess I'd have to look at the price again.
Maybe. PS4?
Possibly. I thought they were the same price, but I didn't look that hard into it yet, I guess.
I was going to say, so far, everything I've seen, next-gen games are listing $70 as a price. But I've only seen, I need to look further into it. I think CD Projekt Red said, no, Cyberpunk's going to be $60 everywhere. But the NBA game and Call of Duty and Miles Morales was cheaper, actually. Because it's not a full...
I know that was a $50 game.
Right, yeah.
At least for PS5. I thought it was a $50 game for PS4 also.
Yeah, like it's cheaper than the other launch games because it's not technically a full new game. Like it's using the old stuff a lot. A lot of old assets are using it. But like Demon Souls, all that was all $70 games. So like the older versions, I don't know. Like it's weird. I don't know if next gen is going to be standard $70 pricing or not at this point. Like it's weird.
I'd expect it to get there.
Oh God, I couldn't even imagine spending like $70 on like a new sports game. Ugh.
Well, how often do you pay $60 for a game right now? Like I'm one of those people that unless I absolutely want it day one, I'm not paying $60. I'm waiting until it drops in price.
Right, or when it's all the DLC inclusive in it. Like
get a complete edition of the game somewhere.
Yeah.
The last game I paid $60 for was Baldur's Gate 3, which is in early access. But I was so excited to get into Baldur's Gate 3, I was like, I even early access, I'm just gonna pay it and you hop in. Before that, shoot, I don't even know. Like that I paid a full 60 for? Probably Doom Eternal. Like that was probably the last one I paid the full 64 at launch.
Yeah. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember what game I bought last that was actually full price.
Well, so many of the games I've played recently are like on Game Pass or
right.
Well, no, I guess I did pay the full price for Modern Warfare. That would be the last one.
Okay.
Because that was after Doom, for sure. I didn't really get into that until spring.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up catching that one on sale because I refused to play full price for a Call of Duty game because it irritated. At that time, Call of Duty was not in a good place for me. I bought it because I was sort of pressured into it. And then Warzone happened.
You don't regret it.
Well, the thing is, I've spent so much goddamn money on the goddamn customization crap that I like. I've probably paid for the last 3 Call of Duty games that I didn't buy because of that crap that I like. They, again, stupid models that I hate, and yet they work on me every fucking time.
They put a Leatherface skin out, and they got me. I mean,
yeah.
I was like, well, I can play as Leatherface. I guess that's.
I mean, that's first world problem stuff for me, but.
Yeah.
I mean, moral of the story is for next gen, it's whatever you like. We're not trying to sell you one way or the other. We're just presenting you with what is available. Should you go, if you're looking at Xbox, this is what you can get for Xbox. PlayStation, I haven't been following as much. I mean, the PlayStation Now service sounds like it's there. I don't know how well it would work compared to Game Pass. It seems like it's a little bit less of a service.
Like,
maybe
their
eventually it'll get there.
But their exclusive titles are where Sony's at. Yeah,
if you are looking for games, especially single-player games, I think if you prefer single-player things, PlayStation is probably the way to go for you. Xbox has always been my multiplayer platform. That's where I play with my friends. I feel like it has the better live service to play online.
More secure.
I think the UI is easier to understand and just figure out how to work the system to be able to invite your friends to party, figure out how to game together. I just think it's easier to figure out.
It hasn't been several times like PlayStation.
Well, yeah, I mean, they have their problems sometimes, yeah, but I feel like I always heard about more from Sony's end than Microsoft's. So I don't know. Any closing thoughts, I guess, just for next gen and Game Pass, Bethesda, any of that stuff?
There was one I wanted to let you know on is Phil Spencer actually had a quote. So for folks that are concerned about exclusivity and if it's going to happen and all that, Spencer was quoted as saying they do not need to ship Bethesda games on other platforms to recoup their investment. Meaning
so that's it. Exclusive to Xbox.
Well, technically the deal is not 100% done yet. He also said along something, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, I can't say anything specific until this deal is officially 100% done.
Yeah.
Which
I was under the impression that some of these games they've announced as being available for PlayStation 5, for Switch, and stuff like that. So the stuff that's already been announced is going to happen. Anything after that,
anything they have a contract signed to release on the platform,
right? So any future releases at this point will probably be exclusive to Xbox.
It's just that difference of like, say, Elder Scrolls 5 releases on every platform, but it's free if you have Game Pass, or it's on Game Pass. I guess it's not free; you're paying for Game Pass, but. Yeah. It's included with this or not included with that. That'll be the difference at the start, and then eventually you'll start to see pure exclusivity. Eventually, they didn't pay $7.5 billion to buy the company when they could have made a $1 billion agreement to add them to Game Pass for free.
Right.
They did that agreement with EA to get them in on the deal with Game Pass. They would have did the same thing with Bethesda if they just wanted to have them on Game Pass and not have them be exclusive. They bought them so they could make them exclusive. It's going to happen eventually. We don't know exactly when.
It's a selling point for sure.
Right.
Andy, any closing thoughts for any of this stuff?
I just think it's a really fun time in gaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really peaked in the last couple of years. I know, like PS2 and PS3 and stuff, but I feel like right now with like the end of like the PS4 and the Xbox One and the beginning of the next gen consoles and just what you can do with PCs, it's just like it's a really cool focus on this kind of stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, next time we do an episode, hopefully we'll have to. By that time. Maybe we can check in with certain people, like Mike specifically, if he has his Xbox up and running, get some first impressions on what we're thinking once these things hit the wild and they're out there and people are using them and playing them. See how they go.
I was going to say, by the time this hits, you're thinking like next week for an upload on this, correct?
It should be ideally over the weekend. So Monday,
so
Tuesday,
a few days after
right
this
before
hits,
the launch.
I'm hoping I can put an unboxing of the Series X out there for you guys. I can film the unboxing of it for you and put it out there. If they actually deliver it on time, which who knows at this point. But if they deliver it on time, I'll put an unboxing, show you all what's in there and what you can expect.
You gonna plug yourself?
Oh yeah, I guess I'm telling you this could happen, and I'm not telling you
you're gonna watch it somewhere, but not telling them where to watch it.
Yeah, come watch this video. Good luck finding it among the other 50,000 unboxing videos that'll be out there. No, it's Rare Achievements on YouTube, Rare Achievements on Twitch as well. You can find me on either. If you want to get updates, Rare Achievement, no S, because that's where the number of characters you're allowed to have ends on Twitter. So
I don't think I realized that's why you didn't have the S there.
It is, because I hit the character limit. So it's Rare Achievement on Twitter. And we'll have some stuff going up. We're going to do a lot of Destiny content coming up because Cyberpunk got pushed back. So.
Yeah, you get a whole month of Destiny Cyberpunk free.
Woo! I don't know about a whole month, but
Andy, what's your Twitch channel? What are you going to plug so you can start streaming some Destiny next week?
Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I were on Twitch, I would not be streaming Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, anything you want to plug? I don't think you have anything, but I'll give you the opportunity.
Hey, come on, Jesus.
I mean, maybe you started a
plug
YouTube
for
channel
Ian,
or something
plug
that I don't know about.
Nation.
I could stream. Come on, guys.
I'd
you
love to
could.
watch
You're just
you.
choosing not
I'd
to.
watch you.
I think I'd be funny.
I think you would too.
Do it.
Especially because I'm a pretty terrible gamer. So
honestly,
a lot of swearing.
Exactly. That's what draws people in. You either have to be an elite gamer or somebody that gets pissed all the time and has a lot of it's very animated about it.
I don't know that I get pissed. I just do stupid things when I'm playing games.
We could have a controller counter on your stream. How many controllers you break as you're playing?
Have one corner be the controller count, and then the other corner be whatever the worst slur you is count. Whatever that is. I don't know you personally.
I broke
I do know you personally, but I don't know what your exclamation
gaming habit wise.
Yeah, gaming habit. What's the worst thing you say when you screw up, and then have a counter for that, for how many times you say that.
Is it just fuck?
It changes. No, it changes from time to time. The one time it was laundry detergent, so I mean, who knows?
Wait, you would just yell laundry detergent when you were
or was it you yell different laundry detergents
I was younger back. I was younger back then, and it was I saw in the corner of my eye that I think my mom was in the room or something, but I was like, laundry detergent.
Stupid Downy bear.
So, I think the last time I broke a controller was playing Madden with Brian.
I
Brian
still tell
made
that story.
you break a controller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the wired one, and I twirled it around like a lasso and then spiked it.
It was awkwardly quiet for a good 5 minutes.
Was it your own controller or was it Brian's?
Oh yeah.
No, it was his. I was at his house.
Okay. I was saying, if you do it to somebody else's controller, that's a fucking fight right there.
Because I had been playing Madden for weeks, and I'm I'm really good at this. You should come over and we'll play. And Brian just kicked the living shit.
He runs one play action pass deep 10 times in a row on you, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I could not. I couldn't.
Wait, that's actually what it was.
When I played Madden back then, it was always Hail Mary passes all the time, and it just worked
all you
over
do,
and over.
And he couldn't figure out to run the cover too.
I couldn't stop it. Yeah. I had only been playing a computer. This is my first opponent that would
fight back,
do other things, and I'm just yeah. And I think it was when we actually got rid of the couch 2 years later that I found that was it the circle button triangle underneath the couch or in the couch or something. I mean, it exploded.
I can remember having a similar experience with the original Xbox and Madden and the Duke controller, because we had the Dukes, but the difference was that thing didn't break when you slammed it to the ground. It just took it. It was just bitch, bring it. You can't break me.
The PS2 controller, it very much exploded.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those instances where, like, I'm laughing, having a good time. I can't tell how irritating how irritated he is. At one point, he just stopped talking, and then I got one more just long Hail Mary touchdown. And as I'm running for the goal line, there was just silence, and then boom, and then poosh. And that was the end of the gaming session for the day.
Yeah, because it was about a foot and a half of wire, and then the swinging, so it was enough to like get like.
You get to hear it whip around for a second, and then
and then it was just like it was me like, I just did that.
I think
Brian should I leave?
Yeah, I don't remember what I did after that. If I just was like, well, time to hit the old dusty trail.
Well, I think my point has been made about Madden. Hold on, let me take a random guess. Madden 05.
I can't.
Ray Lewis on the cover.
I want to say it was the one with Eddie George on it, but
oh god, that's 01.
Oh, that sounds
like
right.
03 maybe.
That image just
Madden 01 is Eddie George.
Okay, maybe it was that one.
Holy
it was
crap.
The newest. I think it was the PS2.
So it was like the first one on PS2 then.
Something I think.
Madden, I was
gonna say
black
controller. Yeah.
Madden 2000 was the last one on 64. Like on Nintendo 64, I think Madden 2000 was the last one they put out.
I haven't broken any controllers
since then.
Since then. Well, I mean, I've had controllers break on me, but I've not gone out of my way to break them.
Right.
It's still one of my favorite stories to tell people, I feel like.
It's a good story, actually. You're just like happy, laughing, having a good time, kicking the shit out of me.
The mood in the room changed immediately at that point.
That's when you just start running dive plays, and you're like, okay, hold on.
I'm pretty sure Matthew laughed at me because I'm pretty sure he was probably playing the computer while we were playing Madden.
Matthew was definitely in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was the one that probably cut the tension afterwards because I was too afraid to move at that point.
He was probably like, damn it, now we have to get a new controller.
I can see him just breaking that completely at that point, just being like, "You're a fucking idiot. What are you doing?" Yeah.
It's like, come on, that's partially mine.
That's good shit. All right, well, that's it for us. I think that's where we're going to stop for now. If you've enjoyed the show, please support us. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Give us a share on social media. Be sure to follow or subscribe to keep up with the show. We are on Spotify, iTunes, Google, Anchor, Stitcher. Hopefully anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
In fact, you could actually ask Alexa to play our podcast.
That's right. You did tell me about that the last time. Yeah. So there you go. Find us on Amazon. I don't know what Amazon pulls for us, but Alexa knows. Find us.
Yeah.
You can also find us on Facebook. Search Bry Guy and Super Friends or go to facebook.com/Bry Guy Super Friends. You can send us questions, comments, topic suggestions, any of that good stuff there. Or you can try to email us, bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. I think I have an easier way to access that now, so I might be able to see stuff, but, you can try it. I still don't check it frequently at all. Check us out on Twitter, @BGSuperFriends. We've done a couple live broadcasts, 2 of them so far, on Twitch. If you want to follow me on Twitch, Jedi Bry Guy, that's where you can find me. If we do any more live shows, that's where they will be posted and done. We will tweet it out on social media, on Facebook and stuff like that, so if you want to keep up with us, that's probably the best way to follow. And then next time we do live, we'll post about it, and hopefully you can catch us live. And that's it for us. On behalf of Andy, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Vote Quimby.
I'm going to see if I can activate people's Alexas. Alexa, play Bry Guy and his Super Friends podcast.
I'll make sure I keep that in just to see if anybody does anything with it.
Oh, she is. She's playing it right now. Oh, that's not it. Fuck. It's the Veterinary Super Friends podcast. I don't know. Did I screw up? Did it sound like I said?
What's going to be more funny is if people play the podcast loud out external speakers, and every time you say that, it cues up the Veterinary Super Friends podcast and not our podcast.